Now, hello and welcome to the final session of Wood Elves and Empire. After this, we'll be moving on to a new faction. We're going to be covering some real spicy replays today. Some real interesting ones and some terrible ones. Feel free to watch and experience the pain and suffering alongside of us as we watch.
Did you know, Willow,
interesting
that any unit with 95 armor or above won't lose models from Burning Head?
Wow, that's your factor. Doesn't HP scale with models though?
Sort of, but
so it depends
like
on the model
if you have
well,
great swords, if you've got great swords who have 95 armor, they won't lose their models from Burning Head, or very little. So if you're quick on the draw, you can heal them all back up before they take any more damage.
Yeah, you can heal them up. Yeah, like pop a regrowth or something. You heal them up to max. Nice. Right then, well, we may as well start with the first replay. Make sure I click watch replay. Clicking fight battle. Who clicked fight battle? Who wants to refight a replay? Who's ever actually used that button to fight against the AI just again? That's an unused button. Anyway, what we got here? We got Norska Sedane playing against Eusebus as the Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Looking very interesting. This
Wait,
Norscan army.
Was this a replay one, or did you just pick one of the random replays?
This is one of the ones you sent me. We'll see.
I thought replay 1 was.
I don't know which one this was. I didn't do them in order. I think this is replay 9.
Okay, I think because I know this one is supposed to be like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I did it from the bottom upwards. So.
Okay, I put it in
orders
order,
out the window. Like, oh, yeah, no, orders out the window.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like Wood Elf Empire, then double feature, then Wood Elf Empire.
Do it in reverse. It still works.
Okay, you're gonna go reverse.
Gonna be difficult. Yeah. I decide. Ooh, first battle will always load in a little slowly, but nothing to worry about. Just because I've just booted up my PC after a long and tiresome day. Sisters of Twilight versus Wolfric. Let's have a look at these armies.
Cubic says hello.
Hello, Cubic. Welcome to the madhouse.
So, as we see here with Norska...
You start with the Norscan army. It's
yeah. So, he's got 5 Marauders and 3 Marauder Champions, just a ton of infantry with 4 Marauder Hunters, which, against any Wood Elf Cav, or even their monsters, just like the Zoas, will die to Hunters really easily. With the Fire Sorcerer, with Flaming Sword of Ruin, actually. Just Flaming Sword of Ruin, because that alone can pretty much tip Marauders into being able to beat Dryads really easily. And then we got a lot of Hounds and Wolves to run
Wolfric
off that.
Well.
Yeah, Wolfric on a horse, because he's
classic 2 abilities.
Yep, he's a fast-moving, shielded horseman.
Yep, with Hunter of Champions, an amazing assassin ability, which works even well because not that many Wood Elf Lords have more than 40 melee defense, so you're almost guaranteed to get it to 0 with this ability. And then Seafang can work pretty well against archers, although there's a lot of light formations in the Wood Elf army. Eternal Guard and Glade Guard will still take some pretty good damage from Seafang. And of course this massive infantry, all being shielded, means the Wood Elves are probably going to run out of ammo before they've killed everything here. Especially like the high HP Marauders and Champions, and they have the same HP actually. More armor though.
Yeah, they have way more armor and melee defense, so...
Looking at the Wood Elf army, you got a bit of a close vanguard deployment here. Got triple Glade Guard with Hagbane tips. That's like an extra 300 gold to be given the poison and magic damage. The magic damage definitely does have a place against some of the physical resistance units of Norsca, specifically Skin Wolves, which have physical resistance, so they can perform quite well against that.
Rage.
Yeah, anything with rage, which gets its physical resistance after fighting for a while. Front line of Eternal Guard. Eternal Guard I don't think will be winning against Marauders, but against any monsters, which is unfortunate because there's basically no units that the anti-large effect will activate except from these Ice Wolves on the Norscan roster. So this full infantry build can really catch a lot of people off because people expect monsters with Norsca. But this sort of thing can really throw off, as it has been seen here. Got Deepwood Scouts. 2 units of them. Again, it's something you don't really need Way Watchers too much against Norsca because they lack the armor. But with Marauder Champions in play, that it could have actually been a better idea to try and take some Way Watchers to get some flanking fire onto the sides of them and help deal some damage. Wild Riders in the back. unshielded, which means they'll probably take a beating from any javelins they come across, but they'll do well against hounds and good cycle charging into the marauders, so they can do a fair amount of damage. They're just very fragile if they get caught by anything. Also has the Sisters of Twilight on a dragon with their classic healing and breath ability, a spell slinger of shadows with pendulum, and enfeebling foe. Enfeebling foe can definitely cut some of those marauders units down to size so that the Eternal Guard and Dryads can cut through them a bit quicker. And some more. Is it just the three units of Hagbane tips? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and for Norska, one of the best dilemmas you can give them is: do I bring 2 different types of units where both of them are not as effective? Where if they bring Way Watchers, sure, you can shoot the champions, but you also have 5 other units of Marauders, and then you have the 4 Javelins, which the Javelins actually have okay melee stats. They're not super great, but they're pretty much as good as Wood Elf Archers.
Yeah, they're fairly on par.
Sure. So it's just too many units to shoot at, so you will never have enough ammunition and are more expensive.
Indeed. How are you doing, Quinn? And so now we get this battle underway. We've looked at the 2 armies.
Yes.
Appears to be going a bit slow as the Wood Elves proceeding around the hill. This hill typically are providing a bit of a problem on this map. You have to basically choose to go this way. Most people would have the engagement this way, but with a large army like this, Norska appears to be standing still while Wood Elves are taking the advantage and attacking one flank.
And Norska sends out sounds at first.
Yeah, I don't believe hounds will catch Glade Guard, especially as they're getting poisoned by the Hagbane tips.
Yeah, with the poison they can't.
You know, although this scenario they're not shooting at this unit, which is causing them to not slow down this unit, so this unit will catch them now. Because they're not getting, they're only focusing fire on this one hound unit, so this one has been able to catch up to them. Although on this side, this Norscan Ice Wolf unit is getting pretty hammered by the volley of fire. Although these already quite a bit through their ammunition, and have only really killed an Ice Wolf unit. Considering the rest of this is pretty shielded, you stand to run out of options to deal damage quite quickly. Wild Riders, the only problem with going a full infantry army like this is there's not a lot of mass to prevent Wild Riders just charging like this. Which is where, but with the Javelins we'll be doing quite a bit of damage.
Grimald says you have as many viewers as Zerg.
Yo, I'm famous. I'm gonna overtake him.
Famous boy.
Yeah, so Eternal Guard clashing against Marauders. Eternal Guard will not, I think it's the Marauder champions as well, yeah, they're not going to be lasting very long at all. Especially as that rage meter builds up with the Marauder champions and Marauders. That's just, they're already nearly dead on this front. That is not a good fight they want to be fighting in at all.
Yeah, and even if he drops like Flaming Sword of Ruin as well, that'll just kill them just so much faster as well. And these Javelins, since the thing is, he doesn't care if he wastes ammunition on shielded units.
Yeah, and these Eternal Guard don't have any shields, so it's even better impact.
Oh yeah,
these are regular ones. Yeah.
And also against Dryads too, who don't have shields.
You can see here the Deepwood Scouts just aren't really trading efficiently with these Marauder Huntsmen either. Oh yeah, Flaming Sword of Ruin here.
Dryads.
Just beefing up the damage values. 48 weapon strength on the old Marauder champions.
And then take into account the about 50% of fire weakness the Dryads have. So you get
and
around
then you apply quite a bit of damage with Flaming Sword of Ruin. This whole massive infantry means you can get quite a few units affected at once. These hounds, I think hounds will beat Deepwood Scouts. They don't quite have the melee stats to keep up. So in this situation, this is definitely a pretty good success in this regard. Definitely seems like you and the Wood Elf player just took a lot of expecting a lot more large, but Norska always has this opportunity to a lot of factions that you expect to see a lot of large, but they have no obligation to. There's no faction that's completely obligated to bring large. So in situations like this, they can just go full infantry. Yeah.
Because Norska actually has fairly solid infantry choices.
I think the only faction that you can almost 100% expect to see large is Vampire Counts. Everything else pretty much has a all infantry option sort of available to it.
I guess you could bring like 5 units of like basic like Graveguard with the ROR.
Yeah,
as
but
a strong
typically in that situation you still want to bring like a Mortis engine or something if you're going something like that, which is still going to have something to shoot at. And typically it's quite expensive large as well, so Vampire Counts will always have large in some variety.
Grimald apparently watched this replay live.
Oh, nice. This person that was on the scene for this travesty. Because we see someone that's basically been very heavily counterbuilt. Somebody that expected to deal with a lot of large, and then has ended up dealing with a lot of infantry.
For a second.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see these javelins are going to be quite a
PSA about the Forest Dragon. It doesn't have a lot of armor.
Oh. It has a bit of physical resistance though, but I believe it's getting Flaming Sword of Ruin now, so yeah, you can just see that health bar just dunk down. Yeah, and then the armor losses just hits from the sheer amount of damage they've taken. And it's over. Yeah, so that was definitely an unfortunate pairing. Eusebus expected a lot more large to be brought, but there was no obligation for Norska to sort of bring large in the first place.
And also, it's in Norska's like worst interest to bring a bunch of large units.
Yeah, you've definitely got to cover all your options, but what else can struggle with that sort of thing? But typically you can bring Way Watchers as like your only anti-large most of the time because of how much they destroy single entities, and then you can just focus on tearing apart infantry with the rest.
Yeah, technically a single Way Watcher should be able to bring down like a Mammoth.
Yeah, or Wolfric or any Lord or Hero.
Yeah.
Just given they fire at it and they use up all their ammo, they probably will take down pretty much any single entity.
But again, with the Flaming Sword of Ruin, it would kill like a Dryad frontline as well.
Yeah. Flame Burning Head also does pretty well against Woodelves because the spread out formations aren't really saving you against Burning Head very often.
Yeah, because Burning Head's actual damage area is quite large.
Yeah. The only thing Burning Head needs to have a requirement is just low entities and low armor.
Wanted to counterpick the Wood Elves.
Yeah, it works quite well, actually, most of the time. Unless you're going a full skirmish build, even then against a full skirmish build, this works quite well.
Yeah,
so quite a
because there's not much because the skirmishers will run out of ammunition long before they get to anything.
An Empire battle, so they go 1-to-1. It's going to be good.
Yes.
Alternating pattern. We have you versus. I assume this is a quick battle.
No, this is actually someone in the
server.
That
cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Decided to bring swordsman.
We have Empire versus Skaven. No, that's not Throttling Cleat. What's his name? Skulk. Does Skulk have a title? Or is it just Skulk?
Yeah, he's just like, isn't he like the main Plague Lord?
So the Plague Lord Skulk, Plague Priest Skulk. Because it feels weird. You got like Throt the Unclean, Queek Head Taker, and then Skulk.
Let's see. Emperor says Elfline. Yeah, sees the replay.
Well, let's hope we don't get to it. We got two priests here, it seems as well. We've got old.
Yes.
I
had to strip almost everything off of him to make him cost effective.
Yeah, cheap. Nice and cheap.
He only has Battle Prayer.
Yeah, but I'll have a look at that now. Actually, looking at Volkmar first. He has his best prayers: Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, Hammer of Sigmar, and his banishment. Of course, always bring the Jade Griffin with Volkmar. I don't think there's any reason you would not bring the Jade Griffin with Volkmar. It's a must-have, pretty much, all the time. Also has a Warrior Priest to provide an extra Hammer of Sigmar buff. Do they stack? I don't believe they stack, do they?
I don't think they do, but I was planning to just keep them with
the Outdoor Graphites. Beef them up even more.
Yeah, and yeet them into whatever problem I have. I do accidentally not notice a certain unit, but you'll see.
You'll see how that goes, yeah. You have two cannons here. Cannons are both pretty important and also a pretty big weak point against the Skaven. You kind of need cannons to counter-shoot artillery, monsters, and short-range weapon teams, but I believe the catapults actually win against the cannons. And the Jezzails can be a pretty hard counter to them, especially the invisible ones, which can destroy them. Looking back at the Emperor army, of course, we have frontliner swordsmen to clear and some flagellants on the flanks just to cut through that chaff. Crossbows in the back because most of the Skaven monsters tends to be quite unarmored, so this is really all you need to cut them down most of the time. And just in case that doesn't work, you still have a pretty strong core in the back in the Outdoor Graphites. Although these are an amazing target for Jezzails, weapons teams, everything here. This is just a really nice weapon team. So yeah, really got to be aware of what's in range of them at all times in this situation. Some spearmen in the back, probably expecting the old wolf rats, which we see in the distance, and some extra spearmen just covering the backs of the crossbowmen. Also have a Fire Wizard on foot with Fireball, Cascading Cloak, and Flaming Skull. Of course, Flaming Skull, good against Skaven. There's a lot of unarmoured models all over the place, and Fireballs are good at picking off single entities and the likes. The Skaven roster plays to the triple Wolf Rat with poison. You don't really need the magical damage against the Empire too much, so he's just gone full poison in this situation. Front line of Skaven slaves, both spears and swords. Spears on the flanks, just in case of Empire Knights, I'd imagine. Council Guard in the back, protecting the weapons teams of some Poison Wind Globadiers, one Rattling Gun, one Jezzail, one Natty Bubo's Sharpshooters, a Warp Grinder, a real mix mash of a back line here. Got spearmen, got warp grinders, got more weird spears, got the council guard, and his leadership tools will be Skrulk with the summon, the breath, and the pestilent vortex, as well as an assassin, which is always a good guard to place with him. Of course, in this situation, he's probably not going to have to worry about much flanking because there is no cavalry on the Empire side.
Except just the one, which is
well,
more
this one, but it's more of a defensive tool than anything for flanking.
Yeah.
Good shots going into the Sigmar Suns there. You hear you moving them backwards and forwards to try and duke their accuracy.
Yeah, I start dodging after the first one hit, and I start waiting for him to fire, and then just moving my unit to dodge.
In this situation, I'd say the Plague Claw would probably be better off firing into the cannons because he could do a surprisingly good amount of damage to them.
Because as long as they hit the infantry, they have a big explosive radius.
Not to mention the leadership debuff can usually make them rout before they even fired a volley.
Yeah. Giselle shooting into Rattling guns.
No, there's a Giselles, yeah.
And I bring the spearmen up because they have shields instead.
They do have shields, but Giselles have shield breaker, so it doesn't matter all too much. But it's a better target for them to be hitting spearmen than it is for the more expensive flagellant unit.
Pretty much. And I bring the flagellants back because I do the same on the left side as well.
Yeah, so you can see here this catapult pretty much getting destroyed. It's I think two catapults would trade very efficiently against 2 cannons. So if he had brought that in this situation,
I've done it before with catapults. It's a fine trade.
It's a pretty fine trade.
Especially if you can get like one of your rat lords in close enough to do a spell or something.
Yeah,
you can
knock them out. Because there goes the last catapult there, forcing the Skaven player to advance with his Giselles. Firing at the basic swordsman with the Natty Buboes. It should also be noted that Giselles are very good at taking out cannons and artillery because they kill the crew so quickly.
Yeah, and this is where I just start targeting the
weapons teams. Yeah, once you take out the long-range artillery, then you usually need to take out the mid-range weapon teams.
Since I looked and saw his front line was made of Skaven slaves, I think I send my Altdorf Griffites out because I figured out where his Nanny Boo-Boos were. And just beeline straight for them.
Yeah, because there's not much guarding them. Like the closest unit is this Clan Rat Spear unit, which is way too far away.
I start driving the crossbowmen forward to force him to charge me because my crossbowmen will out-trade them. Yeah,
they're getting some pretty good fire, but the fact it's 1 Rattling versus 3 crossbowmen is not looking good for the
and
Rattlings.
A cannon.
Yeah, and the cannon also providing fire. The Wolf Rat's sitting there a bit slow on the old flanking manoeuvres. Might cost him some good damage coming out of the flagellants, but again there's probably better targets for the Natty Buboes to be shooting at, mainly the Altdorf Griffites and the cannons, and even Volkmar. It's a pretty good target for the Giselles. Moving up with the Poison Winds, clearly going for the Sigmar Suns. A good volley or 2 into those will probably kill them. Of course kill the Skaven slaves at this point as well, but it's Skaven slaves. They're there to die.
That's their job. Couldn't wipe them out.
Another volley going into 6 Sigmar Suns.
Yeah, here comes the Altdorf.
Yeah, Altdorf Griffites are moving at this point with the Warrior Priest. They're probably going to barrel through this because there's another thing why these are quite good against Skaven is because they cause fear and terror, which is always something you want against Skaven. You can see here they're probably going to run into these Skaven slaves and instantly terror them off. Yeah, terror out, gone. In the back here, these Wolf Rats getting in on the unarmoured flagellants. Wolf Rats will perform fairly well, but their main target here is going after the crossbows and the artillery. It should be noted that these are basic spearmen with shields. I think Wolf Rats actually might win against them because they're not large and they apply poison.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be too afraid.
If they can get like a back charge.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, but with numbers.
If there's the frontal charge, it becomes a bad fight. Yeah, he does catch one of my cannons out.
Yeah, this cannon gets caught.
I was trying, and this is.
All the Soulfire though could be just showing off the power of Soulfire.
The Nanny Boober Sharpshooters are getting caught by the Altdorf Griffites.
Oh yeah, at this point, yeah, they're getting caught over here. That Soulfire as well also just wiped out those Wolf Rats. Could see from the damage. But over here, the Natty Buboes. These Clan Rats aren't going to do much as long as these Altdorf Griffites get out of here, but the Council Guard are coming in.
Yeah. That's what I didn't realize that were coming my way, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good matchup for those to be fighting. Because it's an armor-piercing anti-large unit versus an armoured large unit. It's the ideal situation. These guys still functioning, but this is an amazingly lined-up shot for the cannons to be firing. One good shot could take out that entire unit.
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh.
Fireball going into the scroll. That pretty much any breath attack works very well against flagellants. You should always be aware if your enemy has a breath attack, because flagellants are just such a good target for them. They're completely unarmored, so breath attacks will do
also,
maximum damage.
I kept the fire sorcerer with the cannon and the spears, but I kept throwing fireballs at Skrull because I know he can't heal it back up, and Skrull will eventually die.
Yeah.
And then he sends the assassin after the
caster.
Caster, but I do the big brain play and then run the caster through my infantry.
Yeah, the spearman can quite easily tie down that assassin. Of course, another thing about Volkmar is he also causes fear and terror, as you can see from these wolf rats getting terrorized when they have nearly like full health. Skaven are very vulnerable to terror rats.
Keeping him with the flagellants who are unbreakable, so they just keep fighting.
Yeah, because flagellants will just not break because they're unbreakable. At this point, you can see how the Altdorf fights haven't actually got any large targets to fight, but they're still getting their money's worth because of that fear and terror. It doesn't show up on the values at the end, but the impact of fear and terror is pretty big.
I start chasing Skulk around for a bit.
Yeah, starts just piling down on them, just running them over.
Because I never realized how tough it is to kill the nanny-mover sharpshooters.
Yeah, they're quite annoying, because they have buffed up stats as well from being chevron. They have like 30 melee defense, which is surprisingly good for a ranged unit.
Which and because each model has so much health,
quite difficult to kill.
Goddamn beating.
Wolfgrinder, pretty good target for the Wolfgrinders there, doing good damage to the Altdorf fights into the Warrior Priest. A summon as well to tie them down even more. This is going to keep them tied down pretty much while the anti-large units catch up to them. Also, Lord Skulk putting down his debuff as well to deal even more damage. Although I think that's more of a good versus large amount of entities than anything else. Rattling guns.
Yeah, it's meant to be. The soul fire that wiped out all the slaves and
these clan rats. And wiped out by more soul firepower. Another point blank fireball into the assassin there.
Yep. That's all I kept doing because, like, well, he can't fight him or he'll die.
Yeah, because it's an assassin versus a wizard.
Just use the spearman to hold them still while I eat fireballs, killing like 3 or 5 guys each time.
Worth it. This point, it's down to just a lot of rats. There's the assassin still left, I believe Skulk is still alive, which is probably what's making up a lot of the balance of power. A good burning head, I think, coming in here against the Storm Vermin. Storm Vermin have 90 armor, so they're not as much as you might think for the Council Guard, which is the highest quality infantry you can get for Skaven. So a burning head still does decent damage against them.
Yeah, I think I took out like half its health at that point.
Yeah, it did about a good chunk of the health. A banishment over here as well against the Wolf Grinders. A summon coming down, scurrying underneath the spearman unit, tied up the cannon.
But it just went off in random directions.
Just went off on its own. Looks like we're clipping the spearman. No, it looks like it's alright. Oh, there's a wolf quake going down there. Snaring, seismic snare.
This is a really bad banishment, but just nothing came of it.
Some good buffs here. That cannon looks like it's going to be taken out, although the clan rats are getting terrorized. Which again, the ability of the fear and terror that Volkmar and the Altdorf fights provide.
And remember, if a unit gets broken 3 times,
it's gone.
Regardless of terror or not, those rattling guns, they terror routed from the
So if you get terror routed 3 times, you're gone. Your unit's gone permanently. You basically wiped out that unit.
And I pretty much I have the warrior priest pretty much running around beating the shit out of all the ranged units.
Yeah, all the run out of units. The units that sort of run out of range of everything else. Here he's using his wolf rats quite wisely to run off your running units as well, taking out this cannon first and then probably going to take out these spearmen before they rally. Oh, a good soulfire looks like it's going to be coming down. Pretty much dealing with the rest of the threat from the storm vermin at this point. Of course they're the council guards, so they won't be running, but their damage output is probably quite limited by this point.
But also hurts Skulk pretty bad too. But
yeah,
also
soulfire does surprisingly good damage on some good entities.
Volkmar on his Pope Mobile gets infantry bonus.
I believe, yeah, Skulk also has a physical resistance and Volkmar does magical damage as well, so...
Yeah, so...
Skulk is pretty situated to lose that fight in every way.
And also, Volkmar has 45% magic resist, so Skulk's magic attacks do nothing.
Do less, do even barely anything. Although they're not even armor piercing. I thought Skulk's, because he has a center barrow, doesn't he? So
yeah,
he would
he
have
should
armor piercing.
Have an armor piercing, but he doesn't for some reason.
Weird.
Oh yeah, they're getting the shit kicked out of him. But
yeah, Fire Wizard get whacked by Skulk, because Skulk, even though he's a caster, he's a pretty decent melee combatant as well. Especially with his Discourage ability, which can be good to throw into infantry. As often it is with Volkmar,
it
appears it is basically just down to Volkmar and the Warrior Priest over here, just fighting the Natty Bureaus, although they are out of ammo now, so not quite worth fighting at this point.
They took a long time to kill, because remember, they're part because they run off the map that could trigger army losses too.
Yeah, that's a lot of value lost if that unit goes down.
And, yeah, if only I had Soulfire on them right there.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty good Soulfire. But as it usually is,
I do have a unit of spears, actually.
Somewhere.
A full unit of spears, if you look around.
Full unit of spears, yeah, you got a full unit of spears just set over here.
Yeah, and
just showing up to the fight.
They were just chasing a unit, I
think.
they're
on fresh, they're ready to fight. They're all to lay now. Everything's gone. It's down to just Volkmar and the Warrior Priest in the distance.
Alright, boys. Let's see how the other guys are doing.
Another storm, another summon.
Oh yeah, I use the damage resist here to keep these guys alive as long as possible.
Yeah, he's popped his old book, the book, which does really good damage to a large group of enemies. That was a good Soulfire. That was a good Soulfire.
Yeah. Yeah, against Volkmar you don't ever want to try and blob around them. Just send a single unit and hope that'll
definitely want to get away from these Warp Grinders though that are coming in, because they could do quite a bit of damage to Volkmar, especially if you tie him down with a Stormbowman hit him.
Yeah. I pretty much was pulling back to get to the other guys.
Because in this situation you really want the Spearman to be the anvil for Volkmar's hammer, because he does have a good 50 charge bonus. So, not to mention his anti-infantry, everything that's left is basically infantry.
And also, I dropped the 24 extra melee attacks on.
Ooh, a good breath though there, taking out about half the Spearman's health.
Yeah, but it's okay, Volkmar's keeping the morale up.
Yeah, Volkmar won't run.
There's the Warp Grinders.
The Warrior Priest still in the distance, hopefully coming over to assist.
Yeah, he's gonna start heading over, but I think he's killing off the Nanny Boo Sharpshooter, so.
He's down to just the Assassin and Scroll
the
at this point.
The Assassin who's been fireballed, I think, like 3 times.
Quite a few times, yeah. Seeing as Volkmar's had his stats dropped, it's very worth getting Squirkin at this point, because he's got Assassin Trophy on and making him have 0 melee defense. Probably should get Squirkin there. The fact that he isn't is like damage he really should be trying to get on Volkmar at this point. Because Volkmar's not going to run, he needs to kill him.
The Assassin got terror routed again and died.
Yeah, the Assassin's just died and he's running Squirk away. Again, Squirk isn't a terrible melee combatant. Sure, he's disadvantaged in this position, but any damage you can get on Volkmar at this point is pretty much all you can do.
Especially since he's hit his healing cap. How good is Skrulk's Rod of Corruption, Emperor asks?
Yeah, it's pretty good. But the Rod of Corruption is very good against single entities. It would be, of course, Volkmar here has a 40% magic resistance, so it might not be worth taking against Empire.
Maybe against the Altar Griphites or the Warrior Priest.
Yeah, the Warrior Priest or the Altar Griphites that do huge damage against.
Yeah. Yeah, he finished off the Nenibu Sharpshooter, so even if he keeps running, the Warrior Priest would catch him.
Yeah, something you don't. Yeah, usually you see quite a bit these days for some reason. Caster Lords, such as Skrulk, I know Wurzag's very similar to this. They count for a lot of the balance of power. Like if we look at what's left, Skrulk's got no chance of winning in this situation. There's Volkmar, a unit of Spearmen, and a Warrior Priest. There is no chance of winning, and yet he has this much balance of power. It seems like Caster Lords like this just count for a lot of balance of power.
Which is, I guess, a strategy where people will just snipe casters instantly and ignore everything else because it's so much of the value.
Yeah, that if you take them out, you're almost guaranteed to win from that point onwards.
Yeah, and finally army losses hit
there, yeah.
Run off the map.
Of course, I believe Volkmar, yeah. I very rarely see Volkmar not exceed 2,000 in damage value. He does very well for himself. There's a reason why he's one of the top picks in against most factions. Aldous Griphites, of course, it doesn't look like they get that much value, but the terror routes are probably worth a good 500 in all. So
breaking so many escape, and also just having to keep all the attention on them for a long time and off the cannons.
You can see the cheapness of the Empire Sorcerer really going in, because what is he at this point? Like 600 gold?
He's pretty much 600 gold.
Yeah, and getting 1,600 damage value there just from fireballs for burning heads and the likes.
And the Warrior Priest, I think, got good value
900, yeah, I think he paid for himself there.
He was also 600 gold.
Yeah.
And also he was buffing the...
Considering he didn't have Soulfire as well, that's pretty good damage value.
Yeah.
That's just from him swinging his hammer.
Just beating the shit out of people.
Also some very good damage from these cannons. Another reason why you really want to take the 2 catapults, or maybe 3 catapults, just so you can completely destroy that Empire artillery in this situation. These cannons getting good value.
Catapults are really good against infantry.
It also works there as well, yeah.
Yeah, after you destroy the cannons, you can actually start working on the infantry after.
Crossbow were not getting much done. Sigmar Sons took a lot of damage from poison.
Yeah,
Most of the infantry wouldn't do much because it's just it was all fighting Skaven slaves and clan rats. Not much value to be had there. Yeah, but a good battle overall. Yeah. Not many Skaven standout units, unfortunately. Wolf rats always usually pay for themselves, so they did quite nicely. The counter guard as well that caught up to the Altdorf Griffites.
They got the Altdorf Griffites. They got so much value.
Yeah, good battle.
And they were fighting Volkmar for so long.
Yeah, Volkmar as well, which is even more damage.
Yeah, losses are too high. Time for a team stack.
Empire, we could see if we can do a Wood Elf one. Alternation and the likes.
Yes.
There we go. Oh, versus Lizardman. This is an interesting matchup.
Ah, yeah. This is Logic's save they sent in.
Orion versus Mazdamundi.
And you can like look at an army and realize that they're probably expecting mass skirmish or something.
Yeah. I think this just works as quite difficult to deal with. I mean, in this situation he has a Wild Hunter, so we'll have to see how this goes, but...
Yeah. Good old Mel Gibson. Always rely on him to use javelin at somebody. Yeah. Five Cold One Riders, though.
A lot of scales. So we have a look at the Wood Elf army first. We of course have Orion here with his healing item, which gives him the big heals, as well as a Hawk's Talon. A nice little bombardment spell to throw into the mix. A Spellsling of Shadows with a Pit of Shades, Enfeebling Foe, and Miasma. Miasma does work, I think, quite well against Chameleon Skinks, so we'll have to see if that's used to its potential. A Tunnel Guard with Shield in the front line, of course, good for blocking the Chameleon Skinks line, and also they'll trade fairly decently into Saurus and the likes. Glade Guard in the back line with both Starfire Shafts, and they're all Starfire Shafts. Bringing the Starfire Shafts, of course, because it gives the armor piercing, and usually a lot of the big Lizardmen dinos are quite armored, such as the old Cold One Riders off to the side here. Over here we have Glade Riders with spears, as well as 2 units of Wild Riders with shields. Because the Glade Riders have been caught into Chameleon Skinks, I actually think they'll lose that fight, because Chameleon Skinks quite irritating sometimes.
Actually, well, but also a lot of those horsemen actually have significantly better stats than them.
Yeah, these Wild Riders will definitely run over them if they can get there in time. It's just how quickly those Glade Riders are going to die. We'll have to see for the Lizardmen army. Well, actually, there's something missing here.
More Skinks.
There's also a Waystalker for the Wood Elf army, Arrow of Kurnus. Yeah, but it looks like a lot of Skinks and Saurus on Lizard deck.
4 units, I think, of basic Skinks, or 3, and then 3 Javelins.
Yeah, 3 Javelins, 2 regular Skinks, 5 Chameleon Skinks, and then the pop. Yeah, the pop. Yeah, that one.
The ROR.
Yeah, the ROR Cold One Spear Riders, as well as a Cold One Rider. I think there's 2 Cold One Spear Riders if you include the ROR, and then 3 regular Cold One Riders. Cold One Riders in this situation, they have about good 90 armor, which the Wood Elves kind of lack that armor piercing in their cavalry department.
Unless
outside of the
Way Watchers.
Yeah, so the Way Watchers the only thing that can really do that damage. With. Yeah, so he's got a good pairing there of the Skinks and the Lizard Boys. For a Lord kit, Mazdamundi on his chair, bringing in a bit of
a scary thing to bring.
Comment of I'm not sure if that's too good against.
I mean, scary for the Lizardman because he's going to get shot to pieces.
Yeah, if there's enough Way Watcher power. Of course, he can drop his little shield, which can hamper that damage a little bit. Shield the other ones, but it doesn't do too much. Some of these spells, like sort of go to waste against the Wood Elves, like Ruination of City, Banishment, and Comet of Cassandra don't really get that much value against the Wood Elves.
Because they're just so fast.
He also has a Beast caster of Skinks here as well, with a Manticore summon, which does work pretty well against going after like casters and stuff. So that's probably why he's brought that.
I believe that's what he does.
Just summons Manticores and then throws them at the problem. Of course, there's battle engaging over here. I don't think the Wild Riders will perform too well due to their lack of armor piercing against the Cold One Riders, even if they do have the superior stats.
Oh yeah, and also the ROR is anti-large.
Yeah, the ROR is of course. Yeah, I think it's a Spearman. Just the Spear variant is anti-large in this situation. Yeah. Also, they're getting Shield the Old ones to buff them up even more. Some of these Skinks have been routed off, but at the same time, a unit of Wild Riders and a unit of Glade Riders with Spears is also gone. So unless they can get some help over there, not sure how it's going to go.
The value loss is fairly large.
Yeah, definitely. Some Starfire Shafts being fired into Skink cohort here. Definitely probably want to be just in this situation. It's perfectly normal just to reroute all of your armor-piercing missiles to focus on the fact that all the armored cav is going over here. A really good bit of shade there, pretty much doing almost all the damage there to the RR Spear Riders. A net going down on the Glade Riders to prevent their escape, I suppose. Interesting. I think it might have been. Oh no, he met their Wild Riders instead. Yeah, of course. This way they can't pull out and get cycle charges in. So that works out pretty well for them.
And also keep the cavalry in there and force them to die.
Force them to get stuck in.
Which they do not want to fight this battle.
Yeah, this is a very clumped up Lizardman formation. This is not usually what you want to be doing with your cavalry. It's much more efficient to flank than it is to stack.
Skinks, not moving forward and fighting anything.
Yeah, well, they're perfectly content to just sit there while the entire Wood Elf army is distracted and not dealing with the problems over here, and the fact that their entire cavalry department's about to die.
That's true. Just imagine one pendulum on those skinks.
Yeah, I mean, he's got another pit of shade hopefully coming, but it's whether or not they can hold out long enough. Nope, they're gone. Not a second pit of shade, unfortunately. But that is exactly why you don't want to stack. You want to flank. Almost all the times, if you have a unit coming into the back of one of your own units, just flank instead of stacking. That is the general rule of thumb. Manticore going into Orion. Orion's not that heavily armoured, so at this point he's just throwing it in there to do some extra damage. It's a summon, so it doesn't really take away from much. So he's just throwing it into, which he's done pretty good damage, but Orion will heal that up, of course.
Well, actually, I believe he sent it in the Shadow Sorcerer first and then
I see, yeah. Shadow Sorcerer is also taking quite damage.
Yeah.
Huge old load of Lizardmen coming in. Banishment coming down onto these archers as well. At this point, there's not much. Like he's still firing at the skinks with his armor-piercing missiles. He really needs to turn these around and start shooting these armored units. Because if he loses these, there's not much he's going to be able to do against all this armored cavalry. Well, Ruination of Cities coming down, depending on how that goes, could go really well or just average. Did pretty good. Would have been perfect if it had gone in like this direction, but
yeah,
not quite.
If it gone up towards the other archers, that would
that would have been
maybe that was
well.
what he was banking on.
Now he's shooting at the Cold One Riders, though I think they're probably going to make contact before they get rotated off. Blade Riders with Starfire Shafts don't have the same sort of damage output that Weight Watchers tend to have. So they're just trying to get all the damage in they can at this point before they die. For this unit looks like it's going to go into Rampage, so this unit of Glade Riders will be spared. Not Glade Riders, Glade Guard will be spared the Wrath at the moment, which will allow them to keep firing into the backs of these other units. A lot of Chameleon Skinks left still though, which is definitely a problem. Because there's not much, because now the Wood Elves have lost their mobility, there's not much they can really do to them. Orion is fighting Mazdamundi. That's a pretty good fight for Orion, especially seeing as there's enfeebling foe on Mazdamundi as well.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's got anti-large and armor piercing.
Looks like
and also, if Mazdamundi runs away, he's going to get javelins thrown into him.
Yeah, he's going to get javelins, so... Shade's not catching all too much, unfortunately. He did some okay damage, but not... Oh, actually no, he's doing some pretty good damage against this unit. Pretty okay damage. Also, it stops them from firing as well. Still, all this armored cavalry here, and there's not really much stopping them. This Starfire unit should definitely be firing into this big clump. When they clump up like this, it's just such amazing targets for armor-piercing missiles and spells and the likes. Another Manticore summon I hear in the distance. Here he is coming up. Probably gonna try and put some damage on Orion and the Spellslinger. Could probably take out the Spellslinger on his own at this point, and then go after Orion for some extra damage.
Oh yeah, Orion only has 30 armor, so shooting him isn't actually a bad idea.
Yeah, no, he's got pretty low armor, so pretty good target for things like that. At this point, firing the Arrow-Kernus at the Skink Priest, he's actually run out of Manticore summons, so he's now worthless. Not really worth shooting at. He's summoned his Manticore twice, so he didn't notice there firing his Arrow-Kernus out, which he's basically just getting rid of a really cheap single entity. Would be better off.
But it's also a caster.
Yeah, but he's not. He's lost his spells. He's used both. He's used both summons at this point.
No. What I mean is that for balance of power reasons.
Oh, for balance of power reasons, yeah. But probably would have been yeah. At this point, the balance of power is actually more in favour, but with the amount of cavalry here, it's going to be hard to shut that down without any mobility.
Yeah, pretty much sitting and waiting, as the Chameleon Skinks have a lot of ammunition still.
Yeah, Manticore just throwing itself in there. Should have probably gone after, I suppose it's been Rampage at this point, so couldn't quite go after the Spellslinger or Shadows.
Well, it did a bunch of damage to it.
Yeah, so pretty good damage.
Dropped it from half to like pretty low. But yeah, once Orion and the Eternal Guard got in there,
Yo, it's like us. Welcome.
Yes, you can all be grateful for time here.
So grateful. Thank you for attending. We're just looking at a Lizardmen versus Wood Elf replay, as you can see, if you're watching the stream. It does look like if the Lizardmen cavalry is getting pretty well whittled down at this point. So we'll see how much longer they're going to last for. Oh, yeah, like the Beastcaster is still back, so he haven't managed to run him off. Balance power remains unaffected. He's firing another arrow of Kernus off though. I don't believe that's going to kill him though. Nope. So again, an arrow of Kernus that could have been put like into this huge clump of armoured people. Would have probably been more worth it.
Because doesn't arrow of Kernus have pretty good penetration?
Yeah, it's got pretty good penetration, pretty good armour piercing.
So it'll kill like a couple of cavalry units.
At least.
Are you insulting the people who sent us replays again?
Yes. Who is this one? I don't even know.
It was the Logic.
Yeah, Logic, what are you doing? Dumb. JK. Yeah, still quite a fair bit of Eternal Guard left to be fighting. All that melee defense is going to be hard to chew through for the Lizardmen. Especially considering the best melee attack they have is Skinks.
Yeah,
really, it's only Skinks they have left.
They're relying on just shooting them to pieces.
Yeah, if they can get Orion down, they definitely could turn with the amount of ammo they still have left. But with Orion's ability of I don't want to die because I'm low on health, he just doesn't die. I don't think he's going to get taken down too much.
What happens when his health is low?
He gets 66% damage resistance and regeneration, right? Cloak of Isha, it's an item that you need to take, so you.
Oh no, wait, he got nerfed, didn't it? They got nerfed the Cloak of Isha, didn't it? Because it's only 20% damage just now.
Greater
he still gets his regen now.
He just constantly regens. So
yeah, this used to be
huge.
It used to be a lot more ward save. It used to be was it 66%? I think he got 40% and then add that onto his physical resistance. He gets like 66 equivalent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it used to be a lot harder to kill than he is these days. But thankfully he got nerfed into the ground.
Nerfed, so
him and Ariel as well, both got nerfed.
It's like the real Mel Gibson.
Yeah, just he got nerfed, right? God just nerfed him. Ooh, just saw a lot of models fall over there.
Is pointing out that with skink only built Lizardmen have a huge problem dealing with Eternal Guard because of the
shield
and
the melee defense. Although here they're getting shot in the back quite nicely. Watching the models.
Granted, actually, I don't think Saurus would do great against Eternal Guard either, because Saurus have pretty bad stats to begin with for melee attack and defense.
I think regular. I don't know. I'd have to see how regular
Saurus
trade.
have like 26 or something. It's fucking awful.
Oh.
Like they.
Isn't one advantage of Saurus that they have a huge amount of armor, which is
nullified by the Eternal Guard.
At this point, it's just chasing down skink skirmishers. Although at this point, the skink skirmishers have run out of ammo, so I'm just gonna wait. Okay, then now they're engaging in melee.
I think you can speed up a little bit.
Yeah, that's why we can speed up.
Yeah, and this is it's over there.
Bombardment.
A Pyrrhic of victory, as they usually are.
Yeah. Oh, necrotic. Hashtag fuck Willow speed up.
Yeah, no, I should have sped it up faster. Classic Orion here. I think you just did all the damage to Mazdamundi at that point, as well as the bombardment spells he was throwing down. Just some pretty good value from him. Spellslinger, some good Pit of Shades that got thrown down. Waystalker was firing pretty much the whole game.
Apparently, Logic hated this match.
Yeah, it seems like
all the skirmish.
There's a lot of skirmish. No, it seems like a painful amount of skirmish.
No, not the microaggressions.
No. Yeah, Eternal Guard. Not doing that well, but they're there for holding, to be honest. So they're not really there to deal huge amounts of damage. They're just there to prevent things from getting to the Glade Guard. That you can see this unit here that was shooting at the right targets pretty much the whole game, firing at those
firing at the
armored Cauldron Riders and the likes.
Mazdamundi.
Yeah, just this one was having the right targets. The other three weren't doing an awful lot, unfortunately.
They were generally just shooting the skin cohorts who don't need to be shot at. If anything, the javelins should have been shot at, or just ignore the javelins. Yeah. For
the Lizardmen army, of course, Mazdamundi. Oh, I think Mazdamundi, considering he had a banish. This just shows that again. He had a banishment, a comet, and ruination of cities, and he only got 600 value.
Yeah,
that is not a well placed amount of money at all.
Just imagine if Logic had 3 Waywatchers, or at least just one, and sniped.
Yeah, just taking them out.
down.
Does is Ruination of Cities a bound ability? Is that like a removable one? Because I know Banishment isn't removable.
Yes, you can remove it.
Yeah,
you can remove it. Yeah, so you definitely should have removed it in this situation.
It's standard activated in standard, but.
Skink, with their pretty mixed bag from the Chameleon Skinks, you can see that these 3 units that got caught out early on, and these 2 that went on for the whole game. Just you can see the damage value difference and why.
Like, also the unlucky factor they lost all his Chameleon Skinks. Because imagine if those 3 didn't get taken out, Orion probably would have died.
Yeah, probably would have been taken out if these ones weren't like randomly deployed on top of each other.
Yeah.
These pretty good values as well from the Cold One Riders as well. They matched up pretty well. This one especially, really cheap unit.
Cold One Riders doing actual value instead of just rampaging and then dying.
Yeah, pretty good going on both sides.
Yeah.
Onto a Empire one, or if there's actually it's probably good time for a merged one. This is a good merged one, and I'm in it as well, so I'm gonna watch it because I've got it. I'm in it as well.
Oh yeah, the 2v2, the one we did where it was the dwarves in Bretonia.
Oh yeah, is this one? Great. Can't wait.
Yes, is this one?
Why did you say this one?
Because it's the double feature.
Actually, no, I think I did okay in this one. I think you were the one that was
losing. Yeah, we did okay. I was pretty much the meat shield to your army.
Yeah. You were the one that was not doing well. I won.
Well, no, I did well.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and I'll make my judgment. Fair and unbiased opinion.
You definitely didn't see my burning heads.
No, I didn't. No, I did see one.
Oh,
I think
I watched it yesterday. It's hilarious.
Some pretty good burning heads. You're a big fan of burning heads, aren't you?
I know.
I mean, who doesn't love
when
burning
a head is burning. And also, for some reason, they had a real focus on my Outriders, and I don't know why.
So here we've got a pretty merged attack because the enemies have combined their forces over here. Typical, sometimes you'll see in 2v2s.
Into one Megazord.
Looking at your army first, Psycho, go ahead.
Yes, well, I brought the usual, like, a bunch of spearmen, 4 spearmen in the front with 3 handgunners to pretty much support each other. Bright Whistle on foot with a Burning Head, Fireball, and something else.
Flame Sword of Omen and Cascading Folk.
2 Flagellants, and...
Sigmar Sons in the middle.
Yeah, Sigmar's Sons and behind the guns, so if they try and push forward, which they won't. Then the Altdorf Griffites with Carl, so they can pretty much kill any individual target, and 2 Outriders.
Both his items, yeah. Old Carl. Classic Carl. For my army, I've deployed my infantry behind Psycho using the pathetic Mayflies in front for the superior Aserai lives in the back. Eternal Guard with shields, 2 units of Starfire Shafts. Oh, actually no, 1 Starfire Shaft and 1 Hagbane Tip, applying the poison over here, and then armor piercing on the left side. Over here is all my money, pretty much. We've got Drytra over here, coming in with Pit of Shades, Enfeebling Foe, and her Dryad Summon, as well as Glade Riders with Spears, and a Wild Hunters of Kurnos, and the classic Quadruple Waywatcher, the power of the Wood Elf Arsenal. Quadruple Waywatcher. Over here for the mess build, I don't even...
We got Peasants,
yeah, we got Peasants,
a bunch of, Questing Knights,
bunch of just weird box formations of dwarves just sort of scattered out the place.
2 cannons.
Some Dwarf Lords, Ungrim, I believe it's Rapon.
Some Rangers.
Dams of Life, Pegasus. I've also deployed a unit of Glade Rider Spears back here. He never sees these just sort of get to sneak out because there's no way I'm getting into the back of these cannons.
The power of breaking banner rules, Quinn.
Grail Knights, Cresting Knights, Grail Knights. Oh, yeah, I did break banning rules, yeah. Four Way Watchers is 4 Watchers. I'm pretty sure 4 Way Watchers breaking banner rules. You can only have 3, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But oh well. Who's keeping track of the number of times I've broken banner rules?
Apparently Quinn is.
Oh yeah. Damn, somebody is looking. Some pretty good cannon shots going in there. Just shooting at Eternal Guard for some reason.
No, they're shooting at my Outriders, and they happen to be riding.
I mean, you can see the range of the cannons here. I can definitely see the target they should be shooting at, but they aren't.
Yeah. I was really confused why they were focused on my Outriders. I guess really because they view them as a big threat. But at this point, I was just gonna walk my army forward and just shoot the peasants to death because it's like, eh.
Yeah, peasants are peasants. Literally forming a gun line for peasants. The peasants accepting their fate at this point.
Putting them out of their misery.
That one's head literally came off from a bullet. That is quite the power of Empire steel right there.
Oh, turn for a second because I think I've threw.
Oh, there's a burning head coming down. Yeah, coming down here onto these peasants. Of course they won't. Oh my god, that unit of peasant perfectly through that unit of peasant. Like the archers, that one's gone. And it curves perfectly into this one as well. Oh, and it's going off into. It's probably going to miss those Front Rages, unfortunately.
So, suggestions. How many gold did Psycho get from that?
That one. I think that's at least 700 from that one burning head.
Yeah.
Here at this point,
it's 599.
I'm just firing off my armor-piercing rounds into these juicy Grail Knight targets.
Yeah, and this flank is pretty much using the Altar fights to kill off any valuable cav.
Unfortunately, the Pegasus Knights do get a hold of my Way Watchers there. I'm just trying to put so much volume into fire at this point.
Did I not notice them? Or, oh yeah, no, I drop Carl and try and get the Pegasus.
Try and get them off them, yeah, they're flying away at this point. But...
yeah, because I realized, oh wait.
I summon the Dryads here just to try and catch out this caster, see if I can't get her. These charges, these Wild Hunters of Kurnos are pretty outmatched at this point. I'm just using them as a meat shield so that the Way Watchers can do the real damage by shooting into these big clumps that form up here.
Or for my Altar fights to get them from behind.
Everything over here is just going a bit slow. It tends to happen when you put like 5 units of peasant mob in between you and the enemy. Things just slow down a bit early on. The cavalry just running straight into my Way Watchers at this point. I just didn't have quite the amount of protection. It probably would have been a better idea to place them closer to my infantry. I'll place some infantry with them. Because here they got quite trampled over by Grail Knights and the likes.
Oh, another burning head. Look where I went.
Another burning head. Ooh, a perfect trail mark there. You can see it's taken out a peasant mob unit, an archer unit, another peasant mob unit on the route as well.
And took out a bunch to hit the Iron Breakers.
Pretty good damage there. Yeah.
Or no, those Dwarf Warriors.
Yeah, in this situation as well, I probably would have been better off spreading out my Way Watchers like really far apart, so that this way, if they go for one unit like this, I can neutralize them with the other three. Poor Dreicher going out, getting caught off by Rapunzel, but thankfully Franz is saving her.
Yeah, Franz is coming in to beat the living shit out of her.
And save the day. My archers accidentally get involved in melee, but it's against peasant mobs, so I actually kind of like their chances. At this point, I'm just aiming for the crews of the cannons with my archers, because there's not much else worth shooting, because everything else here is like shielded.
Yep.
Rapunzel's getting surrounded here, and getting... oh, although the Pegasus Knights come to save her, it seems. I hear a pit of shades. I believe I put this one down on this unit of triple chevroned longbeards. Does fair amount of damage, seeing as it's armor piercing, even though the dwarves have the magic resistance. Big old vortex spells like this could still usually be worth using.
Still do a ton of damage, or something like Pendulum as well.
A Missive of Scorch.
It's actually probably only Pit of Shades is a vortex spell that does that amount of damage.
I think flaming. So yeah, the stationariness can help, but sometimes you want a randomly moving ball of fire like a Flaming Storm or something.
Yeah.
Or Purple Sun.
I believe at this point I kill Rapunzel.
Yeah, it looks like Rapunzel's getting... where is she actually? No, there she is.
Oh, she's running away.
She's running around trying to just... cutting 2 heads off. My god, 2 Astrite heads just came clean off at that point. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal destruction from Rapunzel.
Imagine training for hundreds of years to be the best archer ever, and then you get killed by a fucking... some woman on
yeah, imagine that. Some Bretonnian peasant. He picked up a sword and a temple.
Yeah, some peasant woman. Oh yeah, also Umgrim ran forward and killed my Fire Sorcerer, but...
yeah, Dwarf Leadership Kit, just here, just getting shot to pieces because they've run so far out of line.
Yeah, and now, because I have Outriders and Handgunners who are faster than them, and
it's also probably at this point as well that I notice I have Way Watchers here as well, and these are 2 really juicy, unshielded targets that are just in a perfect crossfire of armor-piercing missiles.
They're in a big circle of armor-piercing missiles that they can't do anything about.
And they're unshielded. It's just an amazing situation. Because like, look at that, 150 armor on those 2. It's basically going completely to waste because of the armor-piercing missiles.
I believe at this point they start trying to snipe Carl with cannons.
Yeah, they fire. It seems they've actually realised the valuable targets that there are. He stopped firing his cannons at spearmen and started actually firing them at large targets.
Yeah, Outriders. Oh yeah, I start using my Altar Griffiths to break up the dwarf front line.
Yeah, because they are armor-piercing at the end of the day, and that's the damage you really need in this front line here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you bring dwarves, there's a rune on the rune lord that gives plus 30 armor. Like, I would recommend never take that because, like, if somebody's fighting dwarves, he's bringing armor piercing, so there's like no point in giving like 30 more armor to something.
Well, a bit of friendly fire there on friends,
which is really good, but like
that's okay.
The armor rune is just.
but I think he lost most of his health just from the cannons. Just
yeah, the cannons are also providing pretty good fire. Also, this unit of Thunderers I think might be shooting her. Yeah, the Thunderer unit is also shooting at it. So poor Franz is taking quite a beating. All things
I think that's where he dies.
Yeah, I think the last volley from the Thunderers takes him down there. Of course, at this point, most of the front line has been capitulated for the Dwarf and Bretonnian lines.
And the Democrats.
So we're just sort of punching through a bit now.
Chasing those warriors on the side though, end up running into the Slayers, and I need
these Slayers are sort of the last damage.
I pulled them out in time. To charge them into the Thunders. So
because these Dragonback Slayers do provide a slow effect on hit, I believe. Yeah, this old when they're in melee, they imbue this old effect.
Flatulence into Dragonback Slayers is pretty good. But yeah.
Should be noted that this is usually why the Slayer unit is taken over other ones, is because of the slow effect, not even the fire damage or anything. It's just that 36% slow. When dwarves are that slow, that 36% can really mean you start catching things all the time.
Yeah, especially with their 40 speed.
Yeah.
Most heavy cav could actually get
caught because of that, so it works pretty well. Master Engineer versus Dreicher. Considering, even though Dreicher's this low in health, the Master Engineer doesn't have the best melee stats at all. Like 38-30 on a single entity is awful.
Also, Master Engineer is probably the main reason, is pretty much the sole reason the cannons could snipe Karl while he was moving.
Because he helps with the accuracy and the damage.
Yeah, plus 60 accuracy is bonkers.
Make a note of this Waywatcher unit. This is my last Waywatcher unit yet left. This is we'll see from the value at the end. It's what happens when one Waywatcher unit lives to spend all its ammo efficiently.
His Ironbreakers finally turned around and started using the rest
they just turned around, even though they were engaged fully in melee. They just turned around and started throwing into the Eternal Guard. Oh, a good bit of shades going down here on the Dragonback Slayers. You can just see it's worth the damage, even though it's 25% reduced. It's still producing more than enough. So I think Pit of Shades is what, 13 Winter Magic?
Yeah,
it's
13
really worth it in that situation. Dreicher is still...
Yeah, Willow, if you do something like this.
Yeah.
I just started throwing like basic spearmen into the Dragonback Slayers because anything that does damage will kill them eventually.
Pew pew. Some fire arrows. This is all that's left of Bretonnia, more or less. It's just one unit of fire arrows.
Yeah, there's actually to the right, there's some dwarfs that I'm going to walk down and firing line them.
Oh yeah, these ones. These ones just going to get shot from over the hill ridge. Even though they're right about to run off as well. Those poor fools.
Please.
No, they're gone.
Bring them down.
It is, of course, down to just the iron breaks at this point. I mean, look at these. Triple silver chevrons, 75 melee defense on these iron breakers. That's disgusting. Makes me sick.
They're almost 2,000 gold value.
75 melee defense. It's like, I think Sigfold doesn't even get that much. It's a lot of melee defense. And all those models and all that armor. They will last quite a long time. At this point, you can see Dreicher just won.
Chevrons have chosen get to that
level.
Ridiculousness.
At this point, all that's really left is the old Dragonback Slayers, which are just getting run around and shot at by the rest of the Outrider ammo.
I believe the players ended up rage quitting.
Yeah, I believe they quit early.
The dwarf player left, like I think after his Master Engineer got run, or after like most of his army broke, and we got through cannons.
Oh yeah, there it goes. Pyrrhic victory.
Yes, a Pyrrhic victory.
Take a look at those values, as we must.
Look at the caster.
Caster, 1,500. From
that's a caster that was 600 gold.
Yeah, worth it. Price paid for there. Friend, 1,800. I think that's almost paid for him. I think he was mostly whacking on response for that.
He was pretty much beating more pawns, but it was when he started shooting with cannons that.
Gun units doing, this gun unit doing exceptionally well. The other two not getting quite as much.
Yeah.
This one I think died fairly early.
Yeah, it got caught by. Either I think got shot to pieces by peasant bowmen and the cannons.
Altdorf Graphites did pretty good value. Definitely a mistake of the dwarf player to not take him out earlier with the cannons.
Yeah, I was surprised he wasn't shooting them.
Yeah, really should have shot them a bit later. If we look at the Bretonnian army, nothing really obviously stand out from the infantry. A lot of those archer units got taken out by the burning heads, so they didn't get much of a chance to do anything. These ground light units took out the Wild Hunters and a lot of the Waywatchers, so these two definitely paid for themselves. The Pegasus Knights as well did most of the damage to the Waywatchers. So that's pretty much where all the value came from. The Bretonnian army was just taken out by Waywatchers. Looking at my army, Dreicher doing really good, going after the Master Engineer, as well as the few hits she got in against everything else. Really good damage there. Eternal Guard just there for a holding unit. They're not going to get much done. Way Watchers, you can see here quite clearly, these 3 units died fairly early on. They still did pretty good damage against the Grail Knights, but this one lasted the whole game. Nearly 3,000 damage value from this. I think this is the most valued unit in the entire game. You can just see why the potential of Way Watchers is insane. If you fire at the right targets, if they use up all their ammo, they're going to pay for themselves nearly 2 times over. Nearly 3 times over this one. So it's why they're sort of the heart of the Wood Elf roster, because they just perform this well.
And they're also very accurate.
Yeah, very good. Dwarf army, I'm not even sure what Ungrim managed to hit to get that much value. I'm pretty sure he got shot to pieces.
He killed the sorcerer.
Oh, he killed the sorcerer, of course. Yeah,
and he got in the middle of a bunch of handgunners.
And then got shot to pieces.
That's one that got 80 value, got beaten up by him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, these cannons getting pretty good. They got way more value if they were just shooting at the right targets, but it's always about managing what you're shooting at with what. You want to be making full advantage of armor piercing and shooting at armor targets.
They got around like 1,200 value just shooting Outriders alone, and then they were shooting handgunners.
Yeah, imagine if they had taken out like the Alt of Griffites and then fired on Friends for the rest of the game. There's not much you could really do about that. So definitely a mismanaging of targets.
Except wait till I somehow destroy the
cannons. Yeah.
Maybe with fireballs.
But yeah, pretty good match there. I think we'll move on to another singular one. So like we'll do another Wood Elf one, another Empire one. What did we do last?
We did Empire at Wood Elf last time.
So okay, we'll do an Empire one. There we go. Empire versus Greenskins. It's a funny one as well.
Yes, it is a funny one. This is
to
put the setting. We didn't see the other until it was too late.
I see. I mean, it's this classic hill map of Vassal Tomorrow. So
yes, and
it does have the effect.
Feeling he didn't know where my army was, and probably didn't expect me to beeline forward like I did.
Second best map in the game after Fall of Man.
Second best, yeah, I'm sure it is.
And the map that you always find yourself playing on in quick battle.
Quinn, get out. I will ban you from every server that...
MP Crossroads. Yeah, let's go. Perfectly balanced.
Quinn? I will find you.
Find you.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Actually, I think one side is slightly raised.
Altar of Ultimate Darkness.
Yeah, let's just keep thinking of the worst maps we can possibly think. Oh, I know, a siege map. That would be a good 1v1 map, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're in. Ooh, my tabs. Ooh, slow motion. Do you want to run through your army first? I think we've seen this one quite a bit.
Yeah, with the exception that I have brought. Oh, one second.
I'll run through it then, briefly. Here's the Archlector to provide those prayer buffs, as well as the Royal Alt of Griffites and the Demogryph Knights with Halberds. Just these 2 units getting buffed by the Priest really is a power combo. It's quite hard to beat. He's got the front line of Spearmen with gaps in between, filled up by anonymous gunpowder units, which are just that pike and shot front line that he's quite used to using. He has a Flagellant unit, Sigmar Suns behind them as well, just in case something decides to try and sneak through and try and get into those units. 2 units of Outriders for that skirmish force. And classic Bright Wizard, who I can almost certainly guess has Burning Head, as well as Cascading Firecloak and Fireball. Looking at the
everyone can yell at Psycho for not bringing a Life Wizard with
look at this. You really want a Life Wizard when you're bringing this. Especially the Archlector as well, even more something you want to heal. You want a Life Wizard, you want Earthbloods. That's even better if you bring Earthbloods with this, it's the perfect combo. Alas, there is no Earthblood. Looking over here, we have Savage Orcs and Goblins in the front line. Pretty standard front line to be using. Of course, it's quite lightly armoured, so I expect to see some good burning heads in this situation. Another thing weak to fire, of course, is the Stone Trolls. He has a lot of counters in this army to Stone Trolls. The Handgunners and the Demogryph Knights and the Outriders as well, completely destroy Stone Trolls quite nicely.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was hearing you talking shit about me not bringing on a life caster.
Yeah, it was. No life caster. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Madman. You're crazy. Get out.
Because I'm so used to bringing in Swords of Chaos and no healing.
Ooh. Savage Orc Biggins in the back. These will perform quite well against the Outdoor Griffites and any large lord. But of course, again, low armor can be quite bad if they get a Burning Head thrown on them or something. Some Skirmish Cav, some Forest Goblin Spider Riders in the back, which it should be noted how strong the Greenskin cavalry Skirmish Cav is. They'll probably almost certainly outtrade Outriders. Stone trolls on either flank. I believe hopefully Grom has his, gives them immunity to psychology. So there isn't much terror routing available for the Empire. It's usually only designated to 1 or 2 models. In this case it's the Altdorf Griffites. So if Grom just goes wherever the Altdorf Griffites are, he can stop his stone trolls from getting terror routed by them, because he'll apply that immunity to psychology. He also has 2 Goblin Archers in the back just for a bit of volume of fire as well. Let's play. Oh wait, he also has Orc Shaman with just Foot of Gork. He's just got Foot of Gork. That's all you need.
Yep.
Foot of Gork.
All you ever... only spell you'll ever need.
Yeah, at this point they're probably just seeing each other for the first time.
Yeah. And we're both heading toward, because I saw an archer, Spider Rider archers all the way in the corner.
You thought he was in that sort of direction?
Yeah, I thought he was hiding behind the woods. It's like,
yeah, these handgunners get really quiet.
Cannons, so hide in the woods. It's like, no, his army was over there the entire time. And we literally, like, some of the units just would run into each other. He didn't even, like, charge or anything.
They didn't even get any charge burn. It's just, they just bump into each other. It's a common thing you see. Ooh, a good burning head coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. And it's going to a bit more. Oh, there's also a really good Foot of Gork coming down, it seems. Doing some alright damage, actually. But I'd rate the burning head. Oh, if this burning head keeps going, could be even better. No, it looks like it's going to sway a little bit to the side. Oh, it's going to do... It clips them. Doesn't do too much, unfortunately. Could have been a lot better. These big uns coming in to just crush the Griffites and the halberds and the likes. If you only had healing for these, looks like they could really use some healing. Right? Wait a minute. Yeah, look at that. Oh, those Griffites here on full models, but they're at half health. This is the perfect target for some healing. Ideal healing target right there. Huge clump of green skin on armoured stuff. Another nice place for a burning head there if they manage to hold. While going down there means they probably won't hold.
And there's the wall.
Oh, a good soulfire coming down. Again, these are unarmoured, so that soulfire is going to do some serious damage to them.
Yep,
really
and
good
it's
damage.
a greater soulfire.
Yeah, because it's the Artilector, yeah. Even more damage. These Outriders stacked on top of each other. Oh, I hear it. There it is. Oh, amazing. Perfect burning heads. Perfect burning heads. It's an art form at this point. I give that one a good 7 out of 10. That was a good one. Not amazing, but good. Really good. Maybe 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. That'll be more generous. Sigma Suns here getting caught in between 2 menacing forces.
Great, when you have a fire switch on foot and just everyone ignores it.
Yeah, 'cause it's on foot.
Oh, it's just a fire switch.
Throwing a fireball off, it hits the hill. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, throw it at the Grom, and it's it's a fucking hill.
Just hits the hill, yeah. Grom just trying to run away as quickly as possible. It should be noted that these are pretty good targets for the old skirmish squad if he gets them over there.
Warrior, the Archlector, has an item that gives him plus 60% base damage, but
and fire damage as well, which against Grom and Trolls works pretty well. Yes. Where is it? Let's see if I can click on it. There it is. 41 seconds he gets fire damage and 60% extra damage, which is pretty good. A Foot of Gork coming in there.
The Grom was dying. Oh yeah, no,
yeah, that almost finished off those Demigryph Knights at this point. They're really low. Look how much. Look, those ones still have 10 models left. They have so much healing potential. This would be amazing for some healing. If only you had some healing, eh? Oh, there's another burning head. I'll forgive you.
I don't use it.
It's a good burning head. Oh, that's amazing. Beautiful. Not quite as good. I'll give it a 5.
Only a goblin is that.
Yeah, Quinn, it's not a good casket, so it can't get 10 out of 10 points.
Yeah. If it doesn't literally go through the entire enemy army, I'm not giving it 10. I'm saving 10 for that special occasion when I see it literally go through the entire front line, and then it swerves like with a full 90-degree angle into the archers and then double backs and does the entire archer line. When I see that happens, I get it a 10 out of 10. Give it a 10 out of 10. You can see here these Goblin Spider Riders are stacked on top of each other. This is not what you want to do with ranged units. You always want them separated out, or otherwise you can see they're just not firing at the full rate they should be. They really need to be more spread out to be able to fire at their maximum capacity. They're just firing off like the occasional shot. It's really not doing that much.
Now Quinn, we're waiting for Inkip to cast it. Like, Inkip's the specialist on strange...
Yeah, strangely shaped directions. That work surprisingly well. Real like spread out battle at this point.
What Inkip does with spells is insane.
Disgusting.
How much luck he has.
Real spread out army, it's kind of all over the place.
I once had him throw a fire vortex that went off, and then came looped up and around, and then came back the same way and went over my entire unit of plague monks, and it's like, oh,
skill.
Yeah, total skill. You
can
literally see the arc going, and
clearly you've never heard of skill.
Back over the arc perfectly.
Perfectly arced, as all things should be. This burning heads, high level burning heads. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be getting any more of this. There's not really any good. If you could get one good one off of these spiders, because how clumped up they are. Look at them; they're staying on top of each other. This is not what you do with any ranged unit. You do not stack. Never stack. You should just with anything. The only situation you stack in is if you have like a Grand Priest or some sort of AoE buff. Always flank, never stack. That's the policy. Yep. Everybody should learn it. Always flank, never stack. Unless you've got buffs, in that case stack. But you can still probably flank, because then you can flank and stack. Because you can flank and still get the AoE buffs, so. Because you'll have like the error of effect sort of thing going on. Oh, yeah, like there goes Burning Head. Not well, actually, to be fair, the burned effect will probably send them into a rout, so it's worth it there.
And also, it took out like half their health.
Yeah, it did some like 5 models as well. Not quite writing them off there, unfortunately. Close though, real close. These poor Altdorf Graphites, look at them, look how many are left. They could really do with some healing, eh? They got 10 models left. That's nearly half of their models left, and on that little health, now they're into 7. They had so little health that those puny little arrows killed them. If only they had some healing. Poor little demogryphs. How unfortunate. Look at them scamper off. Bright Wizard's still alive as well. He's just been ignored the whole game really. Gun line firing into the caster. I think at this point it is a pretty sure Empire win. There's not really anything that can kill the Archlector at this point. We'll just go ahead and fast forward it a little bit. Just putting it on slow fast forward in case something funny happens.
Yeah,
like
mainly I just shoot in pieces at that point.
Yeah, looks like it. Like all that's left, yeah, there you go. Pyrrhic victory. Well played. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. 307 kills. 2,000 exactly. Exact 2,000 value on the Bright Wizard. You get a bonus point for having an exact number like that. You very rarely see numbers that exact. Look at that. 2,000. No much standout yet. Again, a lot of this infantry got caught off guard, so didn't manage to do an awful lot. Of course, the demogryphs did fairly well.
The one that survived and was able to just
shoot.
The
one that lasted. This one, I think. Yeah, the one with 18 kills. Outriders did ish okay. And Demogryph Knights did ish okay. Bright Wizard did most of the clearing of the infantry, I think, just from those burning heads, as well as the Archlector as well cleared off most of that Savage Orc cavalry with his Grand Soulfire. Not much. Oh, actually, the good foot of Orcs he got from the Orc Shamans, nearly 2,000 value rocked up with that, so worked well for him there. And this unit Stone Trolls did alright. This unit not so alright. I think this unit got routed off quite early. But yeah, pretty good game. Pretty spit out at the end. Worked out fairly well. So what did we just do? An Empire one to try and find a Wood Elf? Actually, there was a Wood Elf one with you, Lycus. It's another Norska versus Wood Elf one. Do we have any others? Another matchup maybe. Also, it's got Lycus in, so I'm dissuaded from looking at it.
There should be one where it's a 2v2, but it's like where it's Skaven and Wood Elf are against each other.
Oh yeah, this it's Wood. Oh yeah, is it? Yeah. It's this one.
There's Wood Elf and Skaven in it.
Let's take a look at this one.
Just ignore the battle on the other side because they're both.
Yeah, we're only going to look at the Wood Elf battle. If it's a separated battle, is it? I assume it's separated.
I don't think I can, Quinn. We still need him for the next sessions. We can't give him the brain aneurysma right now.
What do you mean? What's this madness?
The one where you tuned in yesterday, where we had.
Oh no, I'm not looking at any of those madness. Oh, don't send me any of that. That's crazy talk.
2 Glade captains. Durthu with the shitty item.
Oh god, it's not his item, it's his ability that's terrible. It's so pointless.
Yeah.
What even is it? What does it exist? Nothing else has anything like. It's like a breath attack, but it's a failure of a breath attack. It's like someone.
I mean, it's kind of like Hand of the Gods with.
No, Hand of the Gods is good at because at least it like snipes. Hand of the Gods snipes. That doesn't snipe anything.
Yeah, but Hand of the Gods was shit. So before.
I mean, it's above average compared to that thing. It's a mess.
And now it's good, at least against Skaven.
I'm sure you've had that happen to you a lot, just from the way you said that.
No, actually, I have only ever like once, but I haven't played a lot, so.
No, that's fair.
And I still think you shouldn't pick lizards into Skaven.
No, yeah, obviously not. But sometimes you're forced into the situation. I just want to make a note of the nice colour. I do like the colour scheme on these ones. Look at that, black and yellow, black orcs. Look at that, that's nice.
Yeah,
we're not going to look at these guys.
one.
I love this colour scheme. That's such a good colour scheme. I like it. Okay, moving on.
It's awesome.
Skaven
And
versus
it's
what else? Dryads. Wow, this is a pretty well matched up since he's got a Dryad front line against Skaven. Works fairly well. Globadiers in the back. Wait, should we look at the Skaven army first? Gutter runners, 2 units of gutter runners in the front for that skirmishing power. A mix of clan rats, wow, a real mix of a front line. Some shielded spears, some unshielded regulars, some Skaven slaves. Real mix of a front line there. Back line is the typical just spears of clan rats and Skaven slaves. Natty bureaus stacked on top of rat ogres. This probably isn't going to help them shoot very easily. It's an interesting play. Who's playing Skaven?
Emperor Moisture, yeah, don't stack your rat ogres on
yeah,
your...
at this point he's getting shooting into the back of the rat ogres, unfortunately. Oh, is that going to be some friendly fire?
I don't think they
well,
shoot, they just like stop.
That's a real scarce shot, that one went right over their heads. Also has Squelch, I believe, but with both items, yeah, both items, and the good spell combo of the Pestilence, Vermintide, and Pestilent Breath. Stand your ground as well, melee defense and leadership, always nice for Skaven. Rod of Corruption and the Lever Bubonicus. I think I'm saying that right?
Lever Bubonicus.
Yeah, it's a big word. I can't say.
Bubonicus.
Packmaster on his mount. I believe he's packing the AoE healing, which probably would have been a better idea to stack his rat ogres next to him to give that regen constantly. He can also give the rat ogres extra leadership, psychology, and melee attack as well because he's got his old collar. In the back, some Glade Riders with spears, probably going to be trying to go after those weapon teams. In the front line, these gutter runners also getting caught out by some Glade Riders. He has Dryads, and are these silver triple doubles? Who's playing Wood Elves?
I think.
Nobody was own up to it. Okay. Well, it's double silver chevron Dryads, which
Quinn was playing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay, good. Can fire some shots at Quinn then. What we got here then? Deepwood Scouts, regular ones. Ooh. No, it's not. I feel bad then if it's not Quinn. But anyway, we've got quadruple regular Deepwood Archers, which works fairly well. To be honest, I think in this scenario you could. I think in this scenario it'd be probably a better idea to either just go Glade Guard or to go Deepwood Scouts with a magical shot. In this situation, you're not really using the 360 fire in any capacity. Drycha with just her summon, which is a perfectly valid strategy. Works quite well actually because that's all you really need Drycha for. And the Spellslinger of Life as well.
It's logic. Queen is logic.
Logic. Interesting. I won't say anything now. 2 Hagbane tip Glade Riders to apply that poison because there's no other sort of poison application around here. 2 Eternal Guard as well, just in case some big large monster wants to stamp through and get into those Deepwood Scouts. So we'll see how this battle goes. These gutter runners getting taken out pretty early just from the Glade Riders with spears. Although I think the Glade Riders got shut down by Globadiers, so not a great trade, I don't think, in that situation.
If you're going gutter runners, actually consider the poison variant because they actually slow down the cavalry so much that you can escape much easier.
These Dryads
also,
taking
since we're on it, if you have the Packmaster, take his item, I think the Scryingstone or something, it's only costs 60 gold, gives you 22% damage resistance and leadership buff, and I had a lot of games where the leadership actually saved me. It's like, I think it's like 60 leadership.
You can see these Glade Riders with spears are getting into the weapons teams here. They've been left unattended.
Oh, yeah.
Dryads will of course destroy the Skaven front line, especially since the Globadiers aren't making use of it right now. They're going to get caught out. And a Dryad summon as well, going down onto the Natty bureaus. Really just a real overwhelming of the Skaven front line at this point. Not looking great for them in this situation. There's a real good counter build from the Wood Elves here into them. Although the Skaven leadership is probably pretty untouchable until the archers realise they exist. As these high priority targets get sniped off by the archers, they're going to start focusing on the old Packmaster. Which, did it lose some missile resistance? Oh, I believe did it lose some armour? I don't know. I think in some way it's weaker to archers in some way than it was before. Well, it always was weak to archers to begin with because of its low armour, so it's always taking the big damage from the firepower.
No, it always gets down really fast by archers, especially if you bring like one of the fire arrows. Like
you
can
destroy them real quick.
A couple of volleys, it's insane. I don't take Throt for that reason against Woodolves because you just delete them.
Yeah, you just destroy them with any archers. You can just, especially like some Deepwood Scouts would completely annihilate one of these things just because of the sheer missile strength. Yeah, a lot of the Skaven front lines, they have been able to hold here if they can formalise more of a defence, but yeah, Deepwood Scouts are just going to fire into those Globadiers, which is the problem with bringing regular Globadiers. I think it's a better idea to bring mortars for Skaven in this situation because you can actually outrange.
Actually, I would recommend too because of the Dryad Rush. They absolutely can wreck a unit of Dryads if they get like 2 volleys off.
Yeah, I just think about it.
And
getting
what they
killed quite quickly by
like,
archers.
they hit.
Yeah, they do quite well, but I think they get destroyed before they even have an engagement, usually.
Yeah, problem is with mortars you get sniped by Wave Watchers.
Did they get outranged by Wave Watchers?
Not Wave Watchers, Wave Stalkers.
Wave Stalkers, yeah, I can see that actually, yeah, that's a good point.
They kill like 2 models per shot, or 3 models if they're lucky, and...
So you can just sort of stay at range and wipe them out before you even bring anything closer.
And you can't reach them because like 600 meters range of the arrows of Kernus.
Just shoot them forever, and here comes the big poof on top of all those clan rats.
Yeah, I'm doing an awful lot of damage. Awakening in the Woods has never done that much damage, to be fair.
Yeah, but they're all it's the perfect situation for that one spell where they're unarmored, low health model cannon.
Yeah, and really squished together as well. These work out pretty well.
It's one of the few times that spell's ever going to be full.
Skulk versus Drycha. Who wins that? I feel like Drycha. No, yeah, Skulk.
Well, Skulk should have armor piercing unless they.
Yeah, he doesn't have armor piercing. That's the thing I'm thinking of.
I always thought he did.
Should have the most armor. And he has magic damage.
Yeah, he does have the magic damage, so he ignores the 20% physical resistance. Drycha gets her. Oh yeah, Liber Buron will definitely switch that in Skulk's favour. I'll definitely do a good chunk of damage to Drycha. You can just see if we just watch her health go down as the Buronicus is activated. That took out about a third of her health with that. Awakening of the Woods kind of wasted here because it's used on a summon. Like, you're not getting much done there. Also, he's firing out a summon as well. When it comes to summons, just try and limit what you're doing to them. Just wait for them to disappear.
Yeah, because the spell singer will not die from that.
Yeah, you're not going to get killed by time.
If it was getting into the archers, then maybe you might want to do that.
That was a completely wasted heal. That heal did nothing. That was something else. Hope you're proud of yourself, Logic. Good old Packmaster smashing around with Skulk and Rat Ogres here. These Rat Ogres perfect for healing at this point, but hasn't got that Throt healing, unfortunately. He's only got some regeneration to give. Gut Runners and Globadiers pouring into the skirmish, because the skirmish can definitely have the range advantage, so you should probably be trying to stay at a distance rather than charge in.
Yeah, but a bit too close to many of those units.
At this point it is a Wood Elf victory, I don't think we need to... Actually no, Deep Woods are out of ammo.
Yeah, maybe. They're all out of ammo, and
considering the old Packmaster will have regeneration.
Packmaster, yeah.
It's possible it could turn into this phase. I'm just worried that they're going to have interfering things coming in from over here, mainly this guy. Look at him. Look at that colour scheme. Love it. Anyway. Smashing around. Looks like they're going to start moving forward. Most of these units just sort of getting cleared up. All that's really left of the Skaven is the leadership over the Packmaster and the Throt. Also a unit of Globadiers, which definitely couldn't be passed down with things. They have like half the models left. More than half. Look at that.
One Globadier unit could probably kill like
tons
half
of models left.
Yeah,
if it all stacked up, there's tons of models left on those Globadiers. And especially since they're out of ammo, they don't really have a way of dealing with them as well. But they do have... No, they just fired off their last volley there. Oh, and a very good Pestilence Breath as well. Definitely turning the tides. With how much these Wooders are clumping up as well. And that's a lot of damage, although an Awakening of the Woods probably won't do too much damage. They'll probably stick around, it'll disrupt their firing for a bit, which is definitely what they need right now, but look at how clumped up these Wood Elves are getting. If they could just fire a couple more volleys in. Oh, and he's dropping the old Rod of Corruption as well. That's a huge effect. Another reason why you just don't stack. You never stack, don't do this. Look at the sheer amount of damage that's being dealt from Spice Bolt here. It's the ideal situation.
Glade Riders coming from behind.
Yeah, Glade Riders are coming from the behind, but they're still probably going to be able to throw occasionally. 1 or 2, which is all they really need to apply the poison wind effect. Yeah, unfortunately, because I know the green skin army's left, probably army losses are going to hit in a minute, but if it was down
army losses calculated separately for all armies.
Yeah, I mean overall the battles won, sort of thing. I think if it was down to it, Skaven would probably get close to winning this as well, because all that's really left now is Drycha. Yeah, with the Packmaster with Terror out.
As long as Stroke had maybe a summon left, he could win this, but...
Did Stroke win this? I haven't seen a lot of... I've seen a lot of breaths, but I haven't seen him use too many spells. I think it was Stroke. What did Squirrel get thrown by?
I think he has used 2 summons so far, so if he has magic left, he should have some. Honestly, against Woodelves, I usually bring the Plague Monk summon, because slowly armored units, they do a ton of damage.
We take a look at the stats for that engagement. Let's have a look. Yeah, Dryja doing pretty well, considering that all she had was her summon, and she's still got that value. This is just from Wailing on Skrulk, I'm pretty sure. All that value. Pretty good value from that regard. Dryads, yeah, they're not going to get their value back because they're fighting. They chew through them really quickly, which is of course all you really want them to do. But they're killing Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats. They're not going to get a lot of value at the end of the day. Yeah, Deepwood Scouts just barely paying for themselves all in all. It probably would have just been worth bringing regular Glade Guard in this situation. Glade Riders with Spears did a pretty good job clearing up all those routed Skaven units. Same with the Hagbane Tip variant as well. And you can just see that the Awakening of the Woods didn't do that much damage. I think 374 damage value from those. Again, actually, does that count damage towards summons? Because there were a couple dropped on summons.
No, summons don't count overall.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it because I feel like I saw 2 good ones.
I think it does.
At that point, you might as well just count Winds of Magic as a part of the balance
value.
of power. As a value, so...
Well, I really think damage against summon counts, because it also counts in free falls.
Well, I don't know, because like I saw 2 Awakening of the Woods go down on Clan Rats. I thought there would be more value there than that, if that was the case.
Yeah. Clan Rat summoned units don't have value. They just don't have value. They have 0 because they're not a unit of the army. No money has been spent on them.
Right.
So no, there would be no value. The amount of models killed will show up, but no value will be attached to them.
Which again is another reason why you don't spend spells on them. Oh, don't waste your spells on them.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't look at the Skaven values.
Honestly, that Woodolf army is really good.
I didn't look at the Skaven value. I think the Globadiers did good value. And what else got good value in the army? Skrulk probably did. Yeah, Skrulk probably. I wanted to see Skrulk values as well. What if you rewatch the replay and tell me the values? Do something useful. So I just stand there and criticize me for talking. What's the next one? Empire?
I'm not on my computer. I can't
sure you
at
are.
the moment.
How coincidental.
I am currently busy with something.
Thank you, sir. Take a look. Another Empire one, probably one. Empire versus Lizardmen? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I can imagine what build I'm going to see here. Oh, it's got great swords. It's got Gelt. It's something different. Got a lot of Pistoliers. My God, why so many Pistoliers against Lizardmen?
Because I thought, hey,
why not?
Aliens game.
Oh, actually, to be fair, Balthazar Gelt, Overcast a Plague of Rust, and then drop quadruple Pistolier. That's a strat.
Yeah.
Like that'll do some pretty beefy damage. Just how much volume of fire the Pistoliers have.
Just because the 3-4 units of Pistoliers catching out like a single, because usually they'll bring like 2 or 3 units of Chameleon Skinks, and they're always spread out, so you just catch them by themselves, unload in them, and then
just run away. Yeah. I do find that against Lizardmen, Lore of Metal can work quite well, especially if you're lacking like armor piercing missiles.
It works really well, yeah. Especially against Lizardmen, any lead of transmutation on their front line will, if it brings them from like some damage to no melee attack.
Yeah, I know against as high elves I'll bring Lore of Metal and then just spam archers to kill all the armored dinos that sometimes high elves struggle with. Anyway, you want to go through your army first, Psycho, if you can. Of course, you have the interesting lead Pistolier followed by backline of 3 triple Pistolier.
Yes. Well, I brought Sons of Sigmar in the front to pretty much soak up any shots that they had from anything. 3 great swords to chop through the lizards. I think a unit of silver bullets and handgunners in between to fire through at any of the monsters, because I know monsters are a thing. Some demogryphs with warrior priest to pretty much run down any monsters in close combat. 2 units of spears, because spears to protect the handgunners. And got Gelt and 4 Pistoliers to be like, but what if I just shooting you and ran away?
Yeah, you got 4 spells here on Gelt. Got old Transmutation. I forgot they're both called Transmutation, that's going to get confusing. Plague of Rust and Searing Doom. But of course, Balthazar Gelt has both his big old battery spells here, so he can usually throw out quite a few spells.
Yeah, you can toss out quite a few spells with Gelt.
Some big old lizard dinos going on here. Got some Saurus, 1 unit of spears, rest are regular, 4 units of regular. Some skinks in the front, 2 chameleon skinks on 1 chameleon skink on each flank. 2 skink chiefs. Interesting choice. Can definitely pose a good threat to like Balthasar Gelt or any single entities, but besides that, probably not going to do an awful lot. Also a Bastildon with a solar engine and a Stegodon, which of course comes with the ballista. Obviously throwing some shots already into the Pistoliers, and Mazdamundi on Zlak with a whole bunch of spells and abilities. The classic Banishment, Ruination, Apotheosis, and Net of Ammentalk. And of course the Shield of the Old Ones as well. Right, that's it. Let's begin. Pistoliers getting a bit caught out here, it seems. And the Skinks and the fire from the Stegodon and the solar engine. Skinks begin to move forward.
I just keep running him back and forth because I guess if he's going to shoot the Pistoliers, that's great for me because he's not shooting anything valuable.
Like the Griffiths.
Yeah. Also, Greatswords are a good pick against Lizardmen because the Greatswords always beat Saurus pretty easily, pretty handedly.
I think I've definitely found recently Greatswords can be a bit of a surprise pick to bring. Like they definitely throw off a lot of armies. And I think they work good against greenskins. They can do good against counts as well because they beat Graveguard.
They got fairly high armor, good
They're
melee
definitely a
stat,
real
and
surprising unit to
They
bring.
have like 46 melee attack, so they can even take on Chaos Warriors and easily kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can definitely be quite as a good unit to bring in some scenarios. Firing into Skinks, I see. Interesting. Yeah, just some trading with fire. Of course, the Sigmar Suns clashing into Skinks. That's like their perfect killing target. Great Swords going into Saurus Spear. That's their perfect killing target. A pretty good frontline engagement overall here. These Great Swords are getting shot at though by a couple things, which might cause them to be a bit weakened if they don't get into engagement soon. Right now they're just standing there, getting pelted. Still getting pelted. I imagine your focus is over here. The Altdorfer and the Warrior Priest just chow down on those Skinks. Now they're going to get into the back line and probably go after these monsters or go after these Skink Chiefs. On this side, looks like a lot of the Pistoliers have been terror-routed off for some reason. They engaged in melee with Zlak. That is not the best move because, of course, they're getting terror-routed off. Well, of course, they'll rally quite quick because there's nothing here to chase up on that terror route. Good old volume of fire going into the dinos here. That's what you have the armor-piercing missiles there for. Looks like they're getting a bit chased up with the Saurus Spear, but in the front line, the Empire infantry is winning just almost in every frontier. Getting the right matchups where they really need it.
Saurus is going off into the distance.
Yeah, and also
I don't know where he's going.
He brought the
this one's really going off for a wide round.
To fight the my Pistoliers, which left them dangerously exposed away from his army. So I threw my Ultra Griffites at him.
Yeah, through the Ultra Griffites over him. Surrounding. Oh yeah, got a surround on him is here. This is the perfect situation for the Ultra Griffites as well.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all Masamudi wrote, and
yeah, he's getting pretty trampled at this point. Oh, the Griffites have been netted though, so if he can try and push his way out of this, he might be able to escape, but it looks like he's choosing not to for some reason. He has netted them down, yet he's staying exactly in the middle of them. Not the best there. Good shield of the Old Ones. Of course that helps in any melee situation or any situation where something's taking damage. Balthasar Gelt just chilling, being supreme, as he usually does. Sigmar Sun's all the way back here. I think they've been chasing the same unit as Skinks all game. Pick up the Warrior Priest here to support the Demigryph Knights, providing Shield of Faith, and I'd imagine Hammer of Sigmar as well soon. You can just see how much damage, considering how much health Zlak has. This is just a huge amount of damage that Mazdamundi is taking at this point. I can guarantee that these Demigryph Knights have paid for themselves by this point. Spearmen getting 1 and 2. They might get terror-routed off in this situation just because the amount of armour that Bastildon has, it's not going to get killed that quickly, but with the handgunners shooting in it should help quite a bit. Banishment? Is that a banishment? Yeah, that's a banishment. That's there for some reason. I think I might have missed the Pistoliers a little bit with that one. And Mazdamundi, maybe he was just throwing out a desperate banishment because he knew Mazdamundi is going down and landing on a couple of Demigryph Knights there. Probably one that crushed, unfortunately. At this point you just turn your attention to the Skink Chiefs, completely flatten that one. Yeah, the Skink Chiefs are definitely, don't see them getting an awful lot done here because they're not armor piercing. And there's a lot of armour in the Empire roster usually. They might have been good fighting and trying to snipe down the Gelt, but I don't think they quite have the range to keep up with it. Or the accuracy to hit him from the distance like that.
You should also probably not expect Gelt in that matchup.
Yeah.
So necessarily first pick.
Yeah, that's not exactly what you'd go for. Yeah, Skink Chiefs are getting crushed at this point. It's pretty surefire Empire victory this last run. Yeah, there you go. Conceded. Take a look at some values. Gelt, not doing much, but I think he was mostly dropping buff spells. I think I saw one transmutation in. The rest I think was just some good buffs, so it didn't do a huge amount of damage, of course. Great swords, pretty good overall. This one paying for itself, the other two getting pretty close, but they were there to kill the Saurus because there's not much else to the Empire roster that has to deal with Saurus. Regular handgunners doing better than silver bullets in the situation, probably just had the better targets.
I think the silver bullets were just had to run back and then started shooting into the Saurus, but the handgunners were the ones shooting at the monsters in the last part.
Yeah, very nice value here from those. These are just taking down Mazdamundi. I think that's literally all of Mazdamundi's value right there.
Mazdamundi's value, and I think they run down a few other
units.
units.
Skink Chiefs.
They caught some of the other monsters.
Pistoliers didn't get a lot done, unfortunately. They weren't having those ideal targets.
They got shot and drew 10.
They died. They died really good. Mazdamundi didn't get much done, unfortunately. Skink Chiefs, again, didn't do much. Skinks. Saurus didn't do much because they were up against great swords. Community Skinks performed alright. Again, why they brought in nearly every Lizardmen army. They always perform pretty well. As long as you click the skirmish button and you press fire at will, they'll do anything, pretty much. But yeah, just not much value from the Lizardmen army overall. I think there's another double one we could do.
Yes. I think it's either 5 or 10.
5 or 10. Here's a 5. That is me. Yeah, that looks like. Oh, is this? Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. In fact, I'm gonna get some drink while I get back 1 second.
See, he's already drinking.
Yeah.
So frustrated. Problem is, the game will start as soon as we load it in, and if he doesn't have the drink back, well.
I'm
Is
back.
this the one with the double fireball?
Double fireball? Oh, this one does have 2 fireball, I think, users. It's a real crazy game. But I did quite well, so I'm happy with this one. I know Psycho doesn't do well. I saved the day in the end. Which is why I'm saving the best for last, of course.
Yeah, usually if you play 2v2 with Willow, you get stomped.
Yeah, but we win at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Actually, it was just the fact that the army that he brought was really
good against yours.
4 wolves.
Yeah, do you want to run through his army, actually? Go on, run through it. If you're fighting it.
He brought 4 units of skin wolves. He brought a chief, just a basic chieftain on
Basic
a mammoth.
chieftain on the mammoth.
I believe a firecaster on a chariot.
Burning head and piercing bolts.
Some marauders, some marauder spears, 2 berserkers, and a Famir with great weapon. I didn't realize he brought a Famir with great weapon, or that he'd even bother bringing one against Empire, I guess.
Oh yeah, it doesn't really make too much sense because Woodelves, so it would be against Empire. Your
Again, that
army
formation that he put his infantry in is absolutely horrible.
Disgusting,
because the sisters with their arrows will shred the marauders, and like cannon shots will do
you want to stretch
3
out as
times
much as
damage.
possible.
Yeah.
Like the build probably isn't bad, but the formation makes you know that the
Makes you
player is
sick.
probably a bit inexperienced.
Psycho's build. You want to go through it? You got your 2 outriders here.
I brought some swordsmen, I brought some great swords, and I brought some handgunners. Just a bunch of infantry, some outriders to shoot, and 2 units of Ultor Griffites. And,
but look at this. Look, he's got these, but there's no healing in the army. Oh no.
Alright.
He's got Balthazar Gelt instead. Look at this dude on his horse with his quadruple spells and his battery pack that they has strapped to himself as well. What a crazy man he is. But yeah, the typical face steel and gunpowder rocking down here. Over here at my army, I have Broken Banner. As you know, these are Deepwood Scouts. Quadruple Deepwood Scout with shifts with a swap. Yeah, that word. They basically just have a lot more missile strength, and they come with magical damage as well, which is quite effective against things like skin wolves as well, which we'll see later. a mix of Dryads and Eternal Guard in the front line. I wasn't sure quite what to bring in terms of a front line against these two, whether or not I needed the armor piercing of the Eternal Guard or the chaff killing power against Marauders. So I just brought a mix of both. Also got a Brent Wraith here because I wanted to bring the Withering, which drops 30 armor on something, because these Deepwood I'm just going to say Deepwood Scouts, they don't have armor piercing. So I can stack the Withering alongside the Sister's armor sundering ability on single shot, and those stacked together will basically do an overcast Plague of Rust, and then convert these with Deepwood Scouts could really max out some damage on pretty much anything. So it basically makes it like I have quadruple Waywatcher in that scenario. Two Wild Riders with shields, just in case anything. It's just to act as a mass unit to hold something in place, so that the Deepwood Scouts can shoot it. So like if a big Shaggoth wants to run through my front line for some reason. And of course here I have the Sisters on a dragon. Not rocking their item, just on their dragon, because more healing that way if you put them on the dragon. And the Chaos Army is, I believe it's 4 units of Chaos Warhounds. No, it's just the 2 units of Chaos Warhounds. 2 Throwing Axes. Forsaken, Mirror Guard. Oh, those were Mirror Guard. I thought they were the Demon's View. Oh well. Chaos Warriors, Chaos Marauders, and Chaos Warriors are a really weird looking formation here. He also has 2 Firecasters, both with Fireball, I think, which is an interesting choice. I think he just wants to really throw out from Fireballs. Also has Sigvold with 2 Chaos Spawn and an armoured Chaos Troll unit. So yes, we will let this play out now.
So for once, it's not Willow breaking the banner rules.
No.
Yeah,
Who would have thought?
Because for just as a reminder, you're not allowed to bring the same spell twice.
2 of the same spell.
You're allowed to bring the same sorcerer if you use different spells, but not.
This guy brought 2 of the sorcerer.
I mean, it was quick battle, so.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. So, banner was broken. How could he? So yeah, just some general skirmishing fire going on for the Deepwood Scouts. Actually, this probably will be a good battle to end it on, so I think I'll focus on my side of the battle. Actually, yeah, I'll focus on my side of the battle now. No, I'll focus on your side of the battle first. And then we'll look back and do my side afterwards. And that'll probably be it to finish for today. So what's going on here, Psycho? Can you remember? I didn't look over here very often, so we've got Outriders shooting the Mammoth.
I started shooting his Mammoth, really.
Yeah, he's just really run it in right here.
I knew I didn't have enough infantry to keep Skinwolves from just overrunning everything. So my main job was to destroy. If I can kill all of the monsters, he will eventually live. And,
he has
yeah,
that fire shaman on it.
Sure. I think I threw like. Wait, I don't remember the Outriders ever getting caught. That's weird. I think I used a Final Transmutation on him as well. Wait.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he really stuck his health down.
Okay, I definitely that's not right.
Is the replay bugging?
I didn't use Searing Doom on my own.
That wasn't your Searing Doom. That was you don't have a Firecaster, do you? That was a Piercing Bolt from
Piercing Bolt that killed
from their Firecaster.
So that's what happened to that unit. Great weapons, alright.
It's all coming back to you now.
Yeah, and then I used that over there.
Silver Bullets looking like they're going to get caught out here, which is a shame because Silver Bullets do magic damage. Skinwolves have physical resistance, so they'd be the perfect thing to shoot with the Silver Bullets. But there's not much here that's going to be able to stop the Skinwolves from just charging through and doing what they want. Although the Demogryph Knights are turning around at this point. We can probably get some good damage on these 2 units, but these 2 are still running quite far. Oh no, they're charging back. Going for a counter charge. Considering how armoured Demogryph Knights are, I don't know. I mean, because of how many Skinwolves there are, I'd say they're probably going to come out on top, but it depends how some prayers are placed, how some buffs are placed. Also has these Spearmen, and they are familiar with great weapons. Yeah, these Demogryph Knights are definitely not looking too good in this situation. They're surrounded by anti-large units. No matter how good they are, they're still getting quite a bit surrounded. Although I think that is a Soulfire Condemned. Yeah, pretty decent Soulfire. Although it's just a regular one, unfortunately. So not quite
as soon as the first Fimir of Great Weapons hits, then the Skinwolves are going to do so much more damage.
Yeah, because of the armor sundering.
I used a Transmutation of Lead on them, so their melee attack is much lower. But which does help the Great Weapon survive a lot longer.
But it's definitely a good pairing to have Fimir with Skinwolves because of that armor sundering.
Yeah, he brings his Mammoth back, which then I just...
Back into the line of fire, yeah, to get shot to pieces.
Yeah.
Got Transmutation of Lead here, dropping on the melee attack on those things. With Skinwolves down to 16 melee attack against Great Swords, it works pretty well.
So, Skinwolves don't have armor piercing naturally, so
so that drops their base attack even further.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Mammoth getting shot to pieces. There goes the Mammoth. The Chieftain fell off the back. Came tumbling down. A lot of stuff running around for Norska. These skin wolves, you can see here, they've got 13 models left. So they've got a lot of regeneration they can do because those skin wolves have that regeneration, which helps them a lot. You can just see how much model is left. They've got a lot of regeneration they can pick up on. Gelt running away from some spears. It looks like the warrior priest and the great swords are stuck in quite a melee here. Just the sheer amount of Norska that's left. Oh, actually, this Soulfire could help turn the tides.
Yeah, this warrior priest just survived for a real long time. Oh no, that wasn't even a Soulfire. That was burning Searing Doom.
Piercing bolts, Searing Doom.
It was Searing Doom from Gelt. Yeah, I think I sent Gelt over to try and break up that sorcerer so my guys could rally and shoot him.
Yeah, looks like you're shooting him with the Outriders here. Yeah, so if you can get him off those your regular handgunners in the silver bullets, so those can rally, that'd be a big help, definitely.
Yeah. Get him, Gelt.
Yeah, a lot of the rest of this Empire stuff has been routed off. It's down to just the Outriders, Gelt, and the other
Outriders, though, use a lot of ammo just shooting apart the monsters and making them lose models. Which
it works for
really does help in the long run.
Especially when it's like skin wars and stuff, you really want to be killing as many models as possible so they don't get the healing. Yeah, these handgunners have rallied at this point. You gotta get them turned around. Firing on some ideal targets. Yeah, here they go. Going against the Shamanist fire. We're also getting a debuff there, I think. Transmutation of lead, perhaps? Yeah, transmutation of lead. Dropping that melee attack. Down to 6. Of course, they still have the charge bonus, so chariots aren't as affected, but this one's getting shot off quite a bit. Although all the skin was getting over here. Might be a bit too late for the old handgunners to get too many shots off. Yeah. Yeah, at this point most of it starts running over to me, I think. Still have these handgunners sort of firing the odd shot off. Can they get a volley off? Yeah, point blank volley off.
Yeah.
So they do get run through at the end.
The transmutation of lead, so look at his melee attack.
Oh, it was down to like 6, I think.
Yeah.
Although they still get some charge bonus
so
from being a chariot, so it's just sort of add up.
It's still not very good. So
no,
he did way less damage than he should have been able to. Yeah,
right,
I think I shoot up all these monsters pretty much.
And I'll take a look over at my POV and then we can see it through to the end as well. Where's it gone? Which one was it? 5? Yeah, it's 5. Okay. Ooh. Here we go. And then we can see from the Wood Elf point of view. It just starts off with a bit of counter skirmishing here and there. Deepwood Scouts will do a really good amount of damage against these unarmoured horsemen, although they do have shields, which can help them. I didn't realise this until later on. They actually have shields, which is why they weren't dying as quickly as I thought they should be.
Yeah, throwing excessive shield, so they don't die.
Here goes the Sister's anti-infantry fire. Pretty good damage there into this unshielded Forsaken. He's firing double fireball at Dryads, which I thought was an interesting manoeuvre. I think he later starts firing them towards the Sisters instead. But yeah, these are relatively low armor compared to like Chaos Warriors and stuff, and the Mirror Guard, and also unshielded units are a perfect target for Wood Elf archers.
Oh, Widow doesn't get the charge off.
Bad. And I dropped the Withering on these Forsaken, and so that I can fire good old anti-infantry and Deepwood Scout volleys into them. This unit of Border Horsemasters has been pretty routed off, which is fairly nice. I think I start firing into these trolls now, applying that armor sundering with the single shots from the Sisters, and then just firing a huge volley of Deepwood Scouts into them. Because when they're armor sundered, they're down to like, I think it's 80? It's only 80? I think I drop a Withering on them as well. And still, their armor is definitely dropped, and also they have no shield, so they take quite a bit of damage from this. After all, there's 4 units of like 37 missile strength archers firing into them. Also a breath comes down as well. That like destroys the unit there. Pretty much sends them into a rout. Well, they do get standard die to try and make them stick around for a bit longer. firing those double fireballs into the old sisters. My Wild Riders at this point were just cleaning up like some hounds in the back line. Now they're pretty freed up. More shots fire in because this has a splash attack. The effect is like applied to all these units, dropping their armor down. So the Deepwood Scouts can fire into them for extra damage. Especially the Chaos Spawn, which have like no armor to begin with. So Deepwood Scouts will just shred those quite nicely. Wild Riders are literally just here to act as like a buffer.
Sorry, yeah.
They're acting as a buffer, yeah. I'm sacrificing them for a noble cause. They're dying so that everything else can shoot at them.
Exactly how Willow talks about his ally.
Exactly, yeah. They sit there while I shoot them from a safe distance. It's the value of friendship. More fireballs. Oh, a nice breath attack going into those Chaos Warriors there. I don't know why I started shooting at these Chaos Sorcerers. They don't quite have the accuracy to really do anything. Also, they have 100 armor, so it was quite a mistake to start firing on these things. Should have just shot literally anything else. Then again, the only thing I really had in rage was Sigvald. I'd go after Sigvald. I don't know. Sisters on a Dragon versus Sigvald. They didn't fight out too long, but who do you think wins that?
Sigvald.
Sigvald.
Yeah.
Sigvald
You think even with the healing of the sisters popping?
Yeah, Sigvald wins because he also has regeneration and a way better melee combat stats. Like, he might not have armor piercing, but you gotta.
He doesn't need it against the first dragon.
Dashing good looks.
There's no magic damage thing.
Also, Dragon only has like 50 armor, so.
Yeah, I think it's physical resistance. Let's make up for that.
Yeah, but 20% isn't that much.
Yeah, at this point I just fired volleys into Marauders because it kills them anyway. They only have bronze shields, so damage is damage.
Do not disgrace us.
Oh, more fireballs coming into the sisters. Not really, that one just missed, but they don't really do that much damage, it seems.
Stop the march of chaos.
I still have my full 4 units of Deepwood Scouts here at this point, all with fairly okay ammo, so they're definitely ready to go up against the rest of this Norscan stuff. I'm just trying to ignore all this heavily armoured shielded stuff because I don't really need to fight it. I can just sort of run away from it and shoot it in the back. Or like breathe on it, or shoot armour piercing rounds at it if I have to. My Brand Traith is fighting Dryads over here. When my Dryads are fighting, these are like non-armour piercing units against 2 armoured units that are terrible in combat. So this battle will probably last a while. Norscan army begins clearing you up at this point. Chaos starts turning into here.
Yeah, but well, they clean me up. But the problem is, once I get my handgunners together and I have Gelt and the 2 Outriders.
Yeah, they can start to do some more damage to them. Looks pretty well.
I think the main problem was I didn't have enough infantry to keep the wolves at bay. If I had like a few more spearmen, like if I dropped 1 great swords for like 2 units of spears and a swordsman, then I'd be fine.
Yeah, would have worked a bit more. Just needed more, but no more like mass.
Too much on facing chaos.
Yeah.
Because if I was getting chaos, that army would have been much better.
Come on, I want to see a volley. Point blank volley. Oh, they're firing into that one instead. Still though, that's like 5 models that just died there from that one volley. It's a beautiful volley.
Yeah.
It's the ideal targets. And you see here, they're going after 1 unit, but the other 2 can just shoot freely. And then they get right off, and then they've barely done anything. It's why the Wood Elf skirmish plan works so well. So that's another reason why you don't stack all your ranged units on top of each other, so they can't get compromised like that.
Yeah. And even if they did get, I'd still just walk up with handgunners and shoot the berserkers while you shoot
them in the back. Yeah, so much gun, so much firepower. But this is the perfect situation for these. They're getting chased by unshielded, lightly armored infantry, and they're on skirmish road, and they're going to outrun them in any situation. This is like the ideal situation for these units. Like that, half their health just disappeared there. Very nice. The sisters looking a bit low in health, but honestly I just threw them into melee at this point because I knew they hadn't got their heal off yet. So I wanted to try and get their heal in a safe position where I knew I could guarantee to get it. So I just decided to throw them in against Sigvald. Which, you know, they did perform fairly well against Sigvald, and he was a bit low in health at this point, but they did okay against him, all things considered. More volleys just going into
but if you consider that he was also fighting the whole time and the sisters
was also fighting up.
Yeah, actually, yeah. As you know, because Sigvald doesn't get worn out, does he?
Water health.
He doesn't get. He's still fresh.
Vigor. fresh all the time.
But yeah, there you go, victory.
Yeah, even it also goes to show how tough Sigvald is to kill.
He is a tough old one to kill.
Fighting the branch rate and also dries and the dragon and still surviving just fine.
Let's take a look at some values then. Psycho's army.
I think Yelt got okay value.
Yeah, that's pretty okay value, probably from those final transmutations and the likes. Oh, and some Searing Dooms as well you threw down.
Yeah, I threw out Searing Dooms, but it was mainly just to clear out the chaff and try and using transmutation of lead just to keep them from killing the great swords too quickly.
Yeah. Warrior Priest didn't do an awful lot, unfortunately. I think he got his Soulfire wasn't quite as damaging as a grand one would have been, which would have been nice.
Yeah, if I had a Volkmir, or just even using a Arch Lector.
Yeah.
Like, technically, I could
Burning Head would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Burning Head would have been beautiful.
Would have been lovely.
But if I swapped it around and brought, like, Volkmar plus a Life Wizard, or Volkmar plus a Fire Wizard, or maybe brought an Arch Lector with a Life Wizard.
Or with both Fire and a Light Wizard.
Yeah, Fire and a Light Wizard.
Because how cheap Empire casters are, it's a perfectly viable option.
Yeah, if you bring them on foot, like, you can bring a Life Wizard with just your healing for 300.
Yeah, real cheap.
And if you bring nothing else, like, you can even take off the map-wide stuff. Yeah, Sons of Sigmar did okay, I guess. They
Great Swords this one got 1,000 value. It's Great Sword unit, exactly 1,000 value. I think that was the one that was fighting with your Warrior Priest to the end.
That was fighting in the blob with the Warrior Priest when he activated everything, and I used translational lead. They just kept getting to wail on shit.
Yeah, they got their jobs done. Handgunners both performed pretty well.
The Great Sword was destroyed by the Searing Bolts of Doom.
Yeah, that one. With the Mammoth. Yeah, that's a pretty done deal for them, pretty much.
Yeah, the handgunners mainly started shooting at like monsters and lords.
Yeah, Demogryph Knights didn't do much though because they got surrounded so quickly.
They got surrounded and hit with because I didn't expect Premier Great Weapons because why bring it?
It's crazy, but usually you can just bring Lord of Metal if you want the armor sundering. So
exactly.
Did he bring up? No, he brought Lord of Fire, so he didn't even.
Brought Lord of Fire.
Outriders did very well though. 1,700 and 1,400
for 700 gold.
Pretty good. Outriders showing their value.
God, if I only brought 4 of them, right?
Yeah, God, it would so much better. His Searing Bolts of Doom, I think. What else what other spells? He had Searing Bolt of Doom and Burning Head. But I don't see many Burning Heads. But definitely saw some good Searing Bolt of Doom there from his Firecaster. He's also because he's on a chariot as well. He probably got some good damage in melee.
He kept charging into units and
trying to chase them off. Yeah.
Himself was just killing routing units.
None of the infantry performed that well because it was against like Great Sword. Skin Wolves all performed. Well, this one especially 1,500 value, very good value on that one. The other ones, all right. This one did pretty good. The other two not an awful lot. For Mia did pretty good. I think it's because they just managed to get into that perfect situation where they were fighting the Demogryph Knights with like Spearman chaff in between them. Just worked out very nicely for them. Looking at the chaos. Sigvald, I think that all that damage is just from hitting into the sisters, which considering they were about to get their heal off, the damage doesn't mean awfully much as well. Firecasters, this one would have been better off just being the one Firecaster, since I'm pretty sure this was the only one that ended up firing off many spells. This one just fighting in melee the whole time.
I think his plan was, I'm just going to double up onto fireballs against 2 factions who heal.
And then the lords will die twice as quickly, right? Yeah, that's not how it works now.
That's not how that works. It's
just means you're throwing out some more fireballs a bit quicker.
Yeah, you just throw out 2 fireballs and do some damage. Like, I guess if you're against factions that don't heal, you could do that to cheese them. Yeah, you can whittle down
like Skaven or something.
Yeah, it's just like cheese scroll or something.
Most of the infantry just got shot to pieces. Didn't really have Horsemasters as well. This one managed to come back later and did a bit of damage, but again, just mostly shot to pieces. Hounds destroyed by the Wild Riders. Spawn shot to pieces.
But the reason I say I'm not sure about the great weapons with Premier Great Weapons because the thing is, most of the time the cavalry is going to be aiming for infantry anyways. So if I brought like a massive Empire Knights, I could just run through the front and then run away.
Yeah, just ignore them pretty much.
It was just the unique situation that all of the Skin Wolves piled onto them and kept them from running.
Question: does anybody know how Knights of the Blazing Sun do against Skin Wolves? Do they win?
They absolutely shred them.
They do win. Absolutely.
If I'd switched out those Griffins for like 3 units of Knights of the Blazing Sun, it might have turned differently.
Yeah, they probably would have. Yeah, because I don't think you even need like the Demogryph Knights.
Decently
against
Skin Wolves.
Because it's the armor.
because again, I brought those demogryphs thinking I might be up against chaos.
Yeah,
I can still
keep that in mind.
And use them against skin wolves, but if I was against chaos and I had blasted Blazing Sun, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Well, you could drop the like Overcast Plague of Rust or something from Miguel to help things out. And looking at my army with the values, Sisters, a nice 3,500 value, just from breaths, I think, mostly, and from like the occasional single shot into trolls. Branch Wraith, I think that's all from hitting the sorcerers. I don't think he actually had a damaging spell on him, so he's literally just hitting sorcerers over and over again from that. Dryads, all my infantry was up against some pretty strong infantry, so they wouldn't get an awful lot of value. And here we just see the value. These are what, 800 gold units, I think, and all of them nearly paid for themselves twice over. The power of Archer if you have the right targets at the right times as Woodelves, this is just the power of the skirmish game with them.
Let's look at the Chaos Army again, because like how many Chaos Warriors did he bring?
It was a mix of Chaos Warriors and Forsaken and Warriors and Marauders. It's a real mix mash of infantry.
Yeah, he could have just gotten rid of the Forsaken and brought more Chaos Warriors, and that would have been fine. That would have been. I
guess he was thinking of going against Empire. Because I do like bringing Forsaken against Empire.
Chaos Warriors against Empire is okay. It's just you would have to worry about great swords, great weapons, which Chaos. You have to worry
about Forsaken as well. It's just I like Forsaken more because you get to, once you run through that front line, you can catch up to the archers and stuff a lot easier, and gunners.
That's true, but also you'll run into Dryads, and he didn't have any. If he had Flamesword Ruin or any Burning Heads, this battle might have been a lot harder for Willow.
But he just brought double fireball instead.
Double fireball and memed it.
Like, yeah, good point.
What's Quinn saying?
Quinn points out Skin Wolves against Empire is kind of like meh, because one Firecaster will make them disappear, especially if you like Empire Knights, which are cheaper.
Yeah,
I guess it's the same against Britonia, where you usually go like triple Fimias with great weapons.
Yeah, or it was an odd army, but I also brought an odd army. Like I said, if I brought took off one of the greatswords and brought more spearmen and maybe like traded some stuff out for some more infantry, then he probably would have just flat out lost. He would have got stopped by the spearmen and then just searing doomed to death, or had the warrior priest just run in and isolate and kill off the skin wolves one after the other, or the handgunners would shoot them to pieces.
Yeah, get shot to pieces. Alright then, well thank you all for watching. I'm going to stop the recording now. And we'll throw in the vote for next week. At some point, Lycus will do that, won't you, Lycus? Yeah, good Lycus.
When we figure out what faction it is, we do after the first session. Make sure to send your replays.
Yeah, send in some sick old replays, and we'll look at them, and I'll harass you for them. I mean, Psycho will analyze them.
Well, I'll analyze them to see if they're worth using, and if we can learn it from it, or
garbage.
If I'm gonna add it to the list of funnies.
Yeah, the funny list. Alright then, well I'll stop recording now. Thank you YouTube people for watching. Goodbye.